What snacks have you got?
A dark chocolate, nuts and sea salt. Kind bar.
Kind bar.
It tastes of fuck all.
Let's have a look at it.
It looks pretty impressive. It's got a nice wrapper. It's got nice almonds. Really nicely placed on the top of the bar. Nicely glazed with what looks like chocolate.
Nicely glazed.
It looks wonderful. And then it tastes of fuck all.
It certainly looks like it wouldn't taste of nothing.
Do you want a bite?
Yeah, I'll have a bite. Cheers. I'll bite it from this side.
It tastes of fuck all.
I'm getting heavy nothing vibes from it.
I mean, it's nice, but not in an overt way.
It's not overly nice.
Like it's something for me to consume.
Yeah. Something for you to have.
But it tastes of fuck all.
Oh, I've got a nice kind of... No, that's still nothing.
No.
I got like an aftertaste of nothing.
When it hits the palate, nothing. And then this aftertaste of nothing comes along.
I'm tasting like... Is there almonds there?
Yeah.
Lovely. Anyway, this is podcast episode 6.
Welcome back to the Disp podcast. If you're back for your 6th time, thank you very much for listening to them all.
Your 6th outing with us.
Well done on making it this far. If you've genuinely listened to all of them.
Well done, but also please find something better to do with your time.
Nah, it's good. We've been getting quite a lot of comments about them and stuff, and people chatting and people showing interest on being on them.
Which is
cool.
really lovely. It's lovely of you all to do such a thing.
And no one's got in touch yet where I've thought, nah, I don't really want that guy.
Yeah, no one.
You know?
Yeah.
So, that's okay.
Yeah. Apologies.
Not that our standards are particularly high.
No, apologies on last episode for being of a low volume.
Yeah, the main feedback from a lot of the episodes actually is they were mastered too quietly. And I got a few angry messages about people who were walking down Edinburgh and a bus went past and they couldn't turn it up loud enough to mute out the sound of the buses for people who were listening to them while walking home from work. So we need to master them louder.
I'll just stick a fat compressor on them so it just sounds... I'll just make everything sound like a buzzsaw.
Just master it too loud for these people and then see how they feel. In fact, just master it too loud because you can always turn it down as long as it's not like peaking or whatever they call it.
I'll tell you what, I'll make it so loud that it just distorts so heavily that it'll just be just horrendous.
Don't do that because that would be a waste of these lovely new mics that we're using today.
We're using some nice new mics today.
Talk a bit about the mics because all I've been able to analyse from them so far is that they look really nice.
You said they looked phallic.
Yeah, like they look this. I'm not one of these people that is attracted to like inanimate objects.
Yeah.
But this is about as close as I can come.
Would you describe a guitar as an inanimate object?
Yes, because it requires something else to come along and make it do anything.
Suppose, yeah.
Like if you leave your guitar in the corner of the room,
it is an inanimate object.
It's always going to be there. You can do a lot of great things with one, but they are inanimate. It's not going to. Yeah. It's not going to crawl away throughout the course of the day.
I think
my bass probably wants to.
My guitar probably wants to. All my guitars want to. They're in such bad repair. A state of disrepair.
We're going to have a mega chilled out chit chat today because
we had a gig yesterday.
Gigging last night, so we're a bit tired and a bit sore.
My neck really hurts.
My neck really fucking hurts. Like I've not really done any like proper live style headbanging really, not even in the practice room.
Yeah.
and I didn't warm up really physically at all. I warmed up my voice, obviously, but I didn't warm up my body. I warmed up my fingers for about 10 minutes before we played, just
I warmed up my
because I was
fingers.
quite cold in the venue. But
Yeah, I warmed up my fingers for an hour.
yeah, that's pretty good.
And then was since late. I was late to not being late.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because yeah, I thought I'd leave really early, and then played guitar for too long. Because I was just like, oh, let's just play through the set, and then the set's like half an hour, and then I jammed about, and that was like maybe 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's a solid hour and 15 of just guitaring. Then I said to my flatmates that I'd clean the kitchen. And then in the time that I was like, I should really leave, I hadn't gotten ready at all. And then when I'd gotten ready, which was then maybe half an hour past the time I should have left, I looked at the kitchen and went, oh fuck. I said I'd do that. I haven't done that. And then when I say clean the kitchen, it wasn't a big thing. It was like put dirty dishes in dishwasher.
I feel like these days the cleaning of your kitchen is much less of a task than it used to be at the old flat.
The old flat.
That was one of those, like, we need a whole day
Yeah.
dedicated to the kitchen. My flat was like that.
It was like, no matter what I did to the old kitchen, it just still looked grubby.
Yeah.
So then when it was not clean, it looked like a trash pile.
Yeah.
Especially, oh man, back in the day when we did recycling, but we would just not clear it out for so long.
Yeah.
And it would just looked like a homeless person was living in our kitchen.
Yeah. Me and Andy used to have like 6 or 7 big black bin liners full to the brim, stacked up in the kitchen, stinking.
Yeah.
The thing with our flat was it had just been done up before we went in. So when you did clean it, you got the satisfaction of it being like sparkly lit.
Oh, that's nice.
And it was beautiful. So you did get satisfaction, and that was pretty much what made me do it. And I clean the kitchen fairly regularly.
Yeah.
But every time you clean it, it's like, oh, next time we'll not let it get to that state.
Yeah.
And it never happened. We were just lazy, unhygienic bastards.
With my bathroom that I've got an ensuite now. I'm living the high life. This is like the longest.
Fucking hell.
I know, this is the longest I've left it before cleaning it, and I gave it a good old purge.
Nice.
And even then, it was just sort of like, this used to be so much worse. I'm now just more pedantic, so it's kind of equaled out as just as bad.
What I like about your ensuite is you've got, I don't know if it's shampoo or something, but the brand name's Belladonna. And it just reminds me of Joey from Anthrax. And I just have images of you lathering your hair up and just throwing the horns out.
Just screaming time. Got the time ticking in my head.
When you're late for work.
I know, when I'm late for
fuck.
when I'm late for meeting Billy to then go to this gig. Anyway, these mics.
Yeah, so tell us about the mics, and then we'll do a full day recap of a day in the life, if you will, of an unorganised metal band playing their first gig of the year. Because there's a lot of really good and funny stuff to talk about, and a lot of great music happens. So,
anyway,
but first, let's talk about the mics.
So these mics, they're little pencil mics, and I'm doing a wee drum session this weekend. So then I was like, fuck, I better buy some drum mics. So I bought these for overheads, but they're nice, kind of nice. They're kind of nice ambient room mics as well, and you can use them for recording acoustic guitar, vocals as well. But I just thought it would be really nice because I bought a matched pair, so we can sound
it looks
consistently.
more official.
It does, yeah.
We've got matching mics now.
What's quite nice about these is they're very, very directional. So I'm listening to my headphones and I don't really hear it pretty like any ambient sound at all.
That's what ideally what you want.
Yeah.
Because upon listening back to like the first 2 or 3 episodes, there's loads of room sound.
I quite like that.
I like it too.
But it's maybe not what you want.
But yeah, that's it. I think the simpler you make it, the better. Just 2 voices and nothing else. We kind of learned the hard way, like with the Ifreann episode last time, that too many voices can be quite a struggle to listen to at times.
Yeah, totally.
Especially when most people are steaming and just.
Yeah, I've got like the the luxury of having a pub directly below my new flat. So me and my flatmate went down for some. It's not tinnies. It's not bottlies either. It's pinties.
Pinties.
Yeah, we had some pinties, and then we bumped into our friend, which we hadn't seen for a while. Then we had more pinties, and then it's really nice to have Ewan be like, we're outside, and then like, all right, go right outside the flat. Well, go right outside the pub rather than be like, all right, there's Ewan and Ben. Let them into the flat and then start a podcast. But yeah, they'd had some actual tinnies, and I'd had a fair few pinties.
Yeah, and I just got kind of sucked into the vibe of being loud and steaming.
Yeah.
I was trying to keep it grounded, but at the same time, I do like seeing the boys just smiling and laughing and going a bit haywire. I don't want to be that boring guy that's always like, but bring it back to the question, guys. Stop having fun.
We had a lot of fun. I don't know if it was any fun to listen to. I think that's the vibe with all of these, is we just have a nice chill time.
At the end of the day, the most important thing of a band of our level is all content has to be fun to us.
Yeah.
Spent too much time in previous years doing things that you think are right and not having that much fun doing them.
Yeah.
And it's unhealthy for your band.
You just get really... Because it becomes work, and then if you're a band at our level, you're working a fair amount anyway just to stay afloat yourself, to then start making content in all of your spare time, which isn't really that fun.
I mean, it's got to feel like work, because you've got to put effort in, obviously, but it also has to be fun.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. If it's not fun, then I'm probably not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, it's like kind of it's a bit of a reality check, really, when you're kind of going like, well, why am I actually doing this in the first
to an
place?
extent. Like, obviously being in the back of a car or something is not fun, or like spending money is not fun. You know, it's not particularly fun.
Spending money to get to a gig, which you're not going to get.
But the rewards are, when you're putting money in, it should be because you want to.
Oh yeah, totally.
You shouldn't be like utterly resentful of that fact.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like this. It's one of the only things that actually. Well, I work 2 or 3 or 4 actually, relatively shambolic jobs, just to kind of stay afloat and have a relatively comfortable life. But then if that's all you're doing, then it's like, well, why am I doing that? And this whole kind of bandy nonsense thing is.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to bring you joy. At the end of the day, you spend too much time and effort doing stuff band related.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't bringing you happiness, you probably wouldn't do it.
You probably shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you're already working yourself to the bone.
And I totally get it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the reward you get isn't that much for the effort that you put in, but that's just kind of the graft, and you just learn after a while to not really rank things that way.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of graft, the gig we had.
Shall we do we'll do a full day recap?
Yeah.
Give people that perhaps aren't in bands a rundown of just what goes down on gig day.
Okay. So
especially on the first day of the year.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know about you, but I was massively unorganised for it. Mentally and just in terms of where's my gear?
Yeah.
Where is everything?
Yeah.
Everything's all set up in different parts of the house because I've been used to playing in the house for 2 months because we haven't done a gig since the start of December.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas usually after every gig, the next day I'll locate everything, pack it all, store it, keep out what I use in the house, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously especially over the Christmas break, like I don't know about you, but I switch off massively.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like an entirely new life for me when a new year rolls round.
I think it is for everyone. I think that kind of space in the year ends up being a kind of bit of a dead period for everyone. Not a dead period, but it's just kind of like, it's so specific to the year that it's just, it's a very palpable moment when you're kind of like, and now we're back in reality.
Yeah. But anyway, I was quite unprepared.
Yeah.
I felt good about our set. We'd had some good practices, and that practice that we had a few days before the gig was really good.
Yeah, we had a really productive one.
We all came away feeling really good and prepared about that. Especially because we were playing a new song that we had never played before. There's always a bit of like.
We played 2 new songs that I hadn't played live before.
That's true. Yeah, we played Void.
Yeah, Void was a new one for me, but it was nice because
That's weird that that's a new song for you to play, because that's like us like.
It didn't feel like a new song.
Digging up a dead body and fucking giving it CPR.
Yeah.
Whereas for you, it is like playing a new song live.
Yeah, it was nice because it's like when I was playing it, it's a tricky song for me just because it's a sheer endurance test.
Yeah, it's like old school Disposable in the sense where a lot of rhythm, not like it's very right hand heavy.
It's a satisfying song to play when you get it right. But when it kind of gets away from you, you're like, oh, it's a mess now.
It's one of those quite mechanical ones that when everyone's on point and playing it tight, it sounds really great.
Yeah.
And I think we played it pretty darn good.
Yeah, it didn't feel like the first time that I'd played it.
Liam cocked up the drum fill at the start though.
I didn't even notice.
And he was dead upset about it.
I didn't even notice.
Because I don't know. He was the most reluctant to bring it back into the set out of all 4 of us, because I think there's some double bass stuff that's like quite enduring for him. And like the drum fill at the start, I think is like his fun bit of that song.
Yeah, and he didn't even get it. Right apparently.
A little bit. I didn't actually notice that much. I was kind of like, I thought he changed it. I thought, oh, I don't know why he's done it differently live, but he has. And then afterwards, he was like, oh, I'm really gutted that I fucked up the drum fill at the start.
I honestly didn't notice. I think I was too busy trying to concentrate.
To be fair, if it lasts for 4 beats, quite obviously, I'm like, it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, and it did last for 4 beats because I felt like
I
came
came in at the same time.
Yeah.
So let's start at the start of the day. You seemed stressed and you were going haywire.
Yeah, I started my day at the gym. I went to the gym at like 7 in the morning. Did some gym stuff. I ran 4K.
Nice.
Felt pretty good. Pretty good for most of the day. But you know, it's like if you go to the gym so early, then you've got like quite a lot of dead time, which is kind of what you like, because it's like, oh, I've got plenty of time to chill. But I will then just chill and then completely misjudge when I should start getting ready and when I should actually get out of the house.
Yeah.
Luckily for me though, it's like this is like the first time I'd actually tried to get to yours kind of on my own, and like I can't really do trains. So basically like the way we were doing it, we were gigging Glasgow, and the easiest way for us to kind of all kind of coordinate ourselves and get there was to kind of meet at yours, which is in Eskbank.
Yes.
And then we would then get the car to Glasgow.
Yes.
And most of the gear was at yours anyway.
Yeah.
So I still need to get like a bus up and then get a train.
It's always hilarious for me when like you guys have to come out of town. Because me and Liam coming into town is like such a normal and easy process. But for some reason when you and Jack need to come out of town, it's kind of like, oh fuck, we're fucking giving the boys a fucking run for their money this time.
It's because it's like, at least when you're coming into town, and you're like, you know where everything is because it's town, and everything's kind of everything that you usually need is there because it's town. But for us, it's like we're going into like the countryside.
It's not the fucking countryside.
It really isn't. It's not the countryside, but it feels like that. It's like
Jack loves calling it the countryside. I don't know why.
There's trees. That's about it.
There's a bit of woodland and some fields.
I don't like calling it the countryside anymore because it brings strong neggy vibes in between my brothers.
No.
Like
it always turns into a horrific argument over what constitutes countryside.
I know.
If anything, it shows how much of a towny freak Jack is. Because he doesn't even understand what a suburb is. He doesn't know what a suburb is. That's how much of a towny Jack is.
Does he not know what a suburb is?
He thinks a suburb's the countryside.
It's not the country.
Of course it's not.
That's not the country. Anyway. So yeah, like I luckily have my stuff kind of here. So in fact, I didn't have my amp, but that's fine because I'm not lugging that on the train.
Carrying amp heads around is pretty much the worst aspect of being.
Like I've already got my guitar and I've already got like my big old effects unit, which I carry in my rucksack, and like the wireless pack that I carry in my rucksack. So it's already relatively heavy, but it's fine. But I kind of, like I said, I play guitar for to kind of get myself warmed up, and then actually started enjoying myself a bit too much, and then, left everything till the last minute. And then in getting like dirty dishes from the sink into the dishwasher, I dropped a spoon, and I was already very stressed that I shrieked angrily at the spoon.
Nice.
And then it had fallen underneath the kind of the, it's not the lid, but like it fell under, when you like open up a dishwasher, it fell underneath that
under the bit.
And I in my red mist, and I wasn't thinking very clearly, and I was just sort of like, I should just put the whole thing back together and then taking the teaspoon out. But I tried to like clamber underneath it, and I couldn't reach it, and I then shrieked even more angrily at it, and in the process I ripped my jeans in the groin bit. They were already ripped anyway, that's why they're my gig jeans, but they ripped to the point where it was just sort of like, well, I now don't feel comfortable getting on a bus with these. So in my haste,
it's always a sad day when the rip gets too big for them to be worn.
It's one of those ones where it was just sort of like, they're kind of like, if I didn't have to get on a bus, or if I wasn't feeling as self-conscious as I was that day, I probably would have thought they were fine, but I was, at that point, I was just sort of like, nah, they're going to the bin.
Anyone who wears skinny jeans just knows the feeling of the ripped arse.
The ripped arse, yeah.
It happens to me a lot because I've got a fat arse.
As established in podcast episode
I can't remember
2 or 3, that Billy has a fat arse.
I've got a fat, chunky arse, and it does me well in certain situations. But I like the style of skinny jeans.
When does it do you well?
And it doesn't. I'm not going to go into any personals. It doesn't break the bed like your bony missile arse does.
That's true.
It's like having a cushion with me wherever I go.
God, I don't have that.
It roots me with a nice centre of gravity.
I can, because of my bones can kind of lock into certain
The birds
bits.
fucking love it.
I'm sure they do.
I don't get many comments on my arse, but I don't get many comments anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I threw my jeans in the bin. I took them off first. Threw my jeans in the bin.
Threw yourself in with them.
I wish I did. Honestly, wish I did.
So you threw your jeans in the bin.
Yeah, and then
right there and then in the kitchen. Did you just whip them off in the kitchen?
I'd like to say I did. I probably didn't. I probably came in here.
You came through and what? And then did you walk through to the kitchen?
Yeah. For some reason, I felt...
You may as well have just taken them off there.
I know. For some reason, I just felt like they should go in the kitchen bin. Because that's when it's like... Because if they're in this... They're in the bin that I'm sat right next to. You'd just see them and they'd be taunting me for the rest of the week before I empty that bin out. So like a
dirty reminder of the shrieking spoon incident. How loudly did you shriek at this spoon?
Very, very loud. It wasn't even really a shriek.
Was it like was it kind of tongue in cheek?
No, it was
like
very
really angrily shrieking.
It was one of those ones where you kind of go, I should go back to therapy.
Yeah, like a worrying, like this should affect me as much as it does scream. Are you all right? Are you feeling okay now?
I mean, I'm too tired to really feel anything right now. So I think that's a plus. Anyway, so after all of that, got my gear ready. Got really paranoid about my EMG pickup that's in my Strat. Thinking, when was the last time I changed that? I don't have time to change it now because it's underneath the pick guard in my Strat. I'd have to like take the strings off.
Yeah, you've got like a weird battery thing where the battery goes inside the body.
It's a guitar that's not meant to have it, but me and my dad put it in.
It's a fucking brilliant guitar though. It's lovely to play and it sounds great.
Yeah, even
it's a small price to pay for how
totally.
gnarly the guitar is.
Totally, but like me and you were saying, we only changed the batteries in those pickups out of paranoia because they last for ages.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I then was sort of like, I should bring some like screwdrivers and stuff so I can do it at Billy's. I didn't even end up doing it. I like chatted to you and then was like convinced it was fine.
I gave you a bit of quick therapy, calmed you the fuck
down. A little pep talk.
A pep talk about how everything was going to be A-okay.
Yeah, and I was like, God, it actually is.
It is. It was a nice day. It was nice and blue skied and sunny, and I felt good and positive.
Yeah, it
I
was
was
really
dead
nice.
excited
Yeah.
about.
I felt a
playing
little
gig.
bit calmer when I was waiting on the bus until I went for my headphones and realised that they weren't there. And then was like, but they're in my jean pocket.
Yeah.
They're in my back pocket. I'm sure they were there. And it was like, these are
And
different
thus
jeans.
they're in the bin.
Yeah, these are different
Yeah.
jeans. My old jeans are in the bin. Sent a very panicked text to my flatmates going, please don't empty that bin because my jeans are in there. My headphones are in the jeans. Please don't empty that bin.
What an amazing text to get on a Thursday morning.
I sent you a message going, do you have any mayonnaise?
Yeah. What a mess you were in that morning. You just were in such a panic, and like you sent me a message like, I can't remember what it was. It was something to do with what time, what train you get, or something like this.
Yeah.
And I sent you back like a screenshot of all the ones that were due to go to mine, and said, "Oh, you should get this one or this one."
Yeah.
And they were like 2 or 3 later than the one that you were intending on
Yeah.
getting, and you were just panicked about being late.
Yeah.
And you were going to be so early.
Yeah.
And it was just like, he's not in a good headspace this morning. He's had a crazy day. And you had a fucking rucksack full of tuna. And you're just like, you care. The only thing you seem to truly care about was whether I had mayonnaise or not, so you could make a tuna mayonnaise sandwich when you got to mine. And you had a separate rucksack for it as well. So like an entire rucksack.
It wasn't full of tuna. I had
Well,
like one.
It was empty apart from one little tin of tuna.
I had
it wasn't
like
full
I
of
had
tuna.
like my water bottle and like honey, and yeah, that's about it actually.
It over the course of the day, it turned into this really interesting like action pack of Ollers stuff that no one else there that day had any fucking use for, other than you.
So
Just
like
tuna and mayonnaise.
So like
and
I
honey.
my I'm like trying to actually take care of my voice because like I actually have to sing in not just this band but in other ones.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you've got
So,
to carry on. If my voice gets a bit throaty after a gig, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
Unless I've got another Disposable gig immediately after.
So I'm a big I don't know the word, but honey water.
Honey water.
I'm big into that. So basically just because it like water will hydrate you, and if you keep having it, it's great. Like not cold water because you want to keep your voice at like a kind of a reasonable temperature. Like anything like too hot or too cold.
Just tepid room temperature water.
Oh, it's great.
Is the way to go.
Yeah, learned that from James LeBrie from
Nice.
Dream Theater. Like lukewarm, never chilled.
Lukewarm, never chilled. Yeah.
But like honey will also like coat your throat.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing anything particularly violent towards it, you've got that nice kind of like coating, so it just doesn't, like the way that the way your voice works is basically just like these like two flaps of skin just like rubbing together, and you don't want them to be like red raw really at the end of the day. So like if you can kind of hydrate them and kind of coat them with something that's
like a little sweet protective barrier.
Yeah, totally. Oh, it is very sweet. I remember when I first did it. I think it was like the last tour that we did, and like there was so much honey in the water that it just gave me it made me feel crap because there was so much sugar in it.
You got a really bad headache and you'd basically like you were gubbing sweeties all day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but my voice sounded great. And I felt fine, and then I had like a rehearsal basically the day after that tour or something where I actually had to sing, and I felt really good considering, and I was ill as well that tour, so I came back and rehearsal straight after, and I was just sort of like, yeah, I actually can sing. Yeah, honey water.
That's good. Yeah.
So that was
a honey water boy.
Aye, that was one of the only other things that were in my small action pack.
I swear by the Vocal Zone throat pastils.
They're great.
Big shout out to Vocal Zone.
Right before a show, they're fantastic.
They're great. They're good for breathing as well.
Yeah, because they open up your passages.
They're good for vocals, obviously, because they lubricate the throat and stuff.
Yeah.
And they last quite a while if you just keep them in your mouth.
Yeah.
So it's like they're good for preparation. And they're good for not only your vocals but your breathing too. Yeah. Because they're just so heavily mentholated that they just burn everything that might get in the way of your voice out of the fucking way.
Yeah, it's great.
And you can breathe great. And I was kind of a bit snotty actually before that gig. I know the last week or so I've been a bit snotty.
Snotty punk.
And just a snotty little fucking smelly bastard basically. But they just fucking blew it away. Like you could almost use them like for medicinal purposes. And they're good, and they endorse me as an artist. Like they do a lot of underground bands actually, so they're really kind in that respect. So I always get nice free packs from them and stuff.
It's important, man, because like the voice is an instrument.
Yeah.
It's an instrument, but it's a muscle as well.
I used to massively disrespect it.
Yeah.
And just do all sorts of terrible things to my voice and my throat.
Yeah.
And it became quite noticeable.
It's one of those things where, like, if you look at it as like, you wouldn't really mistreat your guitar in the same way that you would mistreat your voice. However, when your guitar breaks, you could get a new one. When your voice breaks, depending how badly it's broken, that's you forever.
Yeah, there was one point during the album process that I lost an entire range of my voice.
Fuck.
It just disappeared. It was about the time we done the Bevy Scotland show at LaBelle. Remember when I got really angry because my bass wouldn't work?
Oh yeah, and
I just fucking leathered my voice that night.
Yeah, because you were just
I didn't have time to really prepare because I was like all the time setting up. I was like, why is my bass not working? Why is my bass not working? So I wasn't in like a calm headspace to be like, okay, drink water, sing a little bit, have a few vocal zones, like doing my thing. So I was just totally flustered.
And
for like
plus, you were so angry that you did leather your voice.
Oh, and it just made
you were
me
going
angry.
ham on those vocals.
So I was like, the only thing that's going to make this a fun gig for me now is to just go a bit mental.
Yeah, but you feel it the next day.
And the fucking watching the video back, the vocals sound great, and I'm like, oh, that's good. But I lost the fucking entire upper range of my vocals.
Have you got it back?
I've got it back. It came back. It took about 2 full weeks for it to come back.
It honestly
it was long, and I was worried for a while that it had actually just disappeared.
You honestly have to rest up. And it does come back, but you've got to allow it the time for it to heal. It's like going to the gym. Like,
yeah, totally.
If you're like running lots and your legs are starting to really hurt, or you're kind of noticing that like parts of your like the muscles in your legs are getting really strained, and it's like lay off it.
Yeah,
because the more you do it, the more you're just going to completely break yourself. Yeah,
and I never used to really warm up before gigs because kind of back in the day we never really done many gigs back to back. Like before we would do tours and stuff, so it never really mattered.
You never really needed to.
And I kind of carried that on into when we started touring, like weekenders or 4 days and stuff, and it would kind of just last long enough. Yeah. But by the end of like 3 or 4 gigs back to back, it'd be like, thank God my voice doesn't have to do another one the next day. Yeah. But then we started doing ones that were like a week, kind of sometimes more than a week long. And after 5 shows, it was like I've not done that with. I probably shouldn't really do that gig at all. Yeah. But you can't really drop out, so you kind of just do tamer vocals that night. Yeah. And I don't know. You learn from your mistakes, and I'm just a young idiot. Yeah, I mean, but never again because it's stressful. Yeah, it stresses really you. Right? You'll hear that from like bands that are like really big, that they'll just have like they'll just like be really, really dead honest and be like, you'll sound great for maybe the first 2, like 1 or 2 nights. You will sound crap for the rest of that week. Yeah. And then probably by the end of the tour, your voice will be going, well, I guess this is just what's happening now. Yeah. And then kind of like get back into the swing of it. And then before you know it, the tour's over. So that's the chunk of your tour just kind of like doing as approximate vocals as you can. That's it. Just so to kind of like get the idea of the performance across while being able to actually like do it every night. That's it. I guess we're kind of at the level as well that whenever we do a tour that's like a week long, that's not like, it's not a super regular occurrence for us. Yeah. That'll happen maybe twice a year max for us, really. And the rest of our gigs are kind of scattered about. So when we do that, it's not like something that we've got loads and loads of experience of at this point. Yeah. We still kind of feel like these silly idiots that are just doing a tour that's going to last a week and just presuming everything's going to be fine. Yeah. I mean, like, obviously we're better at it now than the first time we ever done it, but for the first few times we done that, I was feeling like sore and bad and sounding rubbish by the end of it. And it's all just down to like, that's it, not respecting the vocals as an instrument, taking them for granted. And also just not realising how much you speak in a day. Yeah, totally. So like, obviously your voice is used to just chit-chatting all day, every day. But after you've done like 4 or 5 gigs back to back, everything I said the following day was kind of like, I shouldn't be speaking. Yeah. And you try and be silent for a whole day when you're chilling and traveling with your bros.
Yeah,
It
just
fucking sucks.
doesn't
because
work,
all you've
man.
got to do in the car for wherever you're driving to is just chat to each other, and
Yeah.
it's horrible.
Yeah,
It's not nice.
If you're like in a really, if you're like a kind of heavy going singer in a really like busy and successful band, it's hard to not like smoke a cigarette, have a beer,
Mm.
have a laugh with your pals, let alone not speak.
Yeah.
It's difficult, man, and a lot of those things you shouldn't really be doing at all.
Yeah.
If you're going to be doing the kind of stuff that you're doing every single night if you're in a big band, you'll be doing it for months at a time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, the more we talk about it, I don't know how you would fucking do that, to be honest.
Yeah. Major props, and that's when like the actual talent of vocalists comes out.
That's when you actually realize that you distinguish people who with really, really good technique
Yeah.
and people who don't have good technique.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, you then came to mine on the train.
Yeah. What had your day been like up until the point where I met you?
I mean, really, very, very, very chill.
Yeah.
I was off, so I just crawled out of bed,
Mm-hmm.
and then I kind of got ready. All of the stuff was kind of already ready to go
Yeah.
from the other night when I took all the gear back after practice,
Mm-hmm.
and stupidly got into my head that that must be everything.
Yeah.
Which then led to me leaving the merch box
Yeah.
behind because it was still in my room,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wasn't on the ball with the organisational side of it, and I was quite excited.
You're
We'd had
really
the whole, like-
really beating yourself up for the fact that you forgot the merch.
Yeah, I am.
It was like
Yeah.
one of those things where like in the car you
I
just
quite like my organisational skills
Yeah.
when it comes to band stuff,
yeah.
especially when the stuff's all at my house,
Yeah.
because it's then like my responsibility to sort of have it all there and ready. And I just fucked it. I fucking fucked it. And it was dumb because it was a good gig and there's quite a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And people did come up to me and ask if we had any merch, and I just had to be like, "Oh, it's at home, bro." And it was just like, "Oh, this is naff."
It was like one of those things where it's like when you realized we were in the car and I was already kind of half dozing off. I think you might have woke me up with just, "I forgot the merch box," and I woke up going like, "Huh, all right." I'm pretty sure the
you were
vibe.
asleep at the point, and you woke up, and all the shit just went down as to me wanting to slice my own head off
But like
because I forgot.
it
the
was
merch
literally
box.
just you
Just
going
left it
like,
sitting there.
you just kind of like forgot the merch. Long silence. Win some, you lose one, lads. Win some, you lose one, and nobody gave a fuck. Literally nobody was caring.
It
at
just
all.
turned into like me talking to myself for 10 minutes in the car while you were
Yeah.
in the back just whispering, "There's Billy Orty's going fucking insane. Billy's going mental."
Not even that. Just like
fucking in silence.
not even that. Just kind of going. Can I go back to sleep now? Because
I'm just looking at myself in the little mirror thing that flips down in the front seat, like, "You fucking idiot."
all
boy.
around me are familiar
You
faces,
fucking idiot.
worn out faces.
Where's the merch box now,
Worn
mate?
out
Where the
faces.
fuck is it, mate? You fucked it big time, mate. Oh, it was fucking terrible. I feel terrible about it.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, well, never mind.
The more we talk about it, the more upset I am about it.
His brows are furrowed.
And the fucking...
The glasses are
My
off.
pride is taking a big knock there. And it was just dumb. It was just fucking dumb.
You're
But
so
these
hot
things
and
happen,
bothered by this.
I'm really upset. I'm gonna blame it on like the first gig of the year, easing myself back into it. And at least I know I'll never do that again, because I don't ever want to feel like this again.
Man, that time I think it was like the last last Edinburgh gig of the tour that we did, and it was like we went back to mine to get the merch box, and we stayed there for ages, and then we left, and then we were like, we didn't even take the merch box.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you had to run back to get it.
Mm.
What is it with the fucking merch box?
Such an afterthought really for us, because it's like it's gear and it's all the stuff that we need to make the heavy metal noise. But then we also realised that like, oh yeah, that's important as well.
It's usually just always there,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like you take for granted the fact that it's there. So it's the easiest thing to lose,
Mm-hmm.
because it's usually just like a plastic box or like a cardboard box or something.
Yeah.
Whereas like if one of the guitars isn't there, it's like I can only count 2 guitars. Where's the third one?
Yeah.
Whereas like if the grubby fucking cardboard box isn't there, it doesn't immediately jump out to you. Like where's the cardboard box? I'll need to get a box and just fucking write merch on it in big huge fluorescent ink so that we never forget it again.
Yeah, just wrap it in like fairy lights or something so we just know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, you then rocked up to Eskbank train station, and it was nice. It was a lovely day. We made a nice little jaunt to Tesco where you bought mayonnaise, because it's not a staple in my household. Mayonnaise.
And I wasn't angry or disappointed that you didn't have mayonnaise. Just I can't relate to a household that doesn't have mayonnaise.
I just don't have mayonnaise.
And I couldn't let it go. I couldn't let it go. I was like, that's just so weird that you don't have mayonnaise. And it's like, is it?
I like these little things that like you take for granted about the place where you live that other people just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like Marmite's just in my house at all times, and it's a fucking panic if it's not there.
I don't
know any cunt that likes it.
Yeah, no.
But it matters to me on a big level. Also, it's got vitamin B12 in it, which is what a lot of vegans are low in.
You're a big Vigo now.
When you take away your, like, especially your dairy, but your meat as well.
Yeah.
So that's like the big panic vitamin.
Yeah.
That I'm probably not gonna get.
Yeah.
And I fucking just searched online like top 5 foods for B12, and Marmite was there, and I was like, God, that's like my all-time favorite fucking toaster sandwich filler. It's the actual best thing ever. I love it so much. And it was just like, so now I'm like on what I like to call Marmite by doctor's orders. So I just fucking slather it on everything. And anyone that's like, oh my God, that's disgusting. And I'm like, fucking doctor told me to have it. Fucking fill the brim with B12. It's yum.
That's unacceptable.
I don't know many people that like Marmite.
To be fair, I think the first time I tried it, I don't remember what it tastes like. I just remember kind of going, that's not for me, and then putting it to bed.
I bond quickly with people that like it, because it's like, I don't know, it's like finding someone that likes this underground band that you think you're the only person that's heard of. There's a little underground army of Marmite fans out there.
Power violence band.
Shout out to the Marmite fans out there.
They're right there.
So yeah, what did we get? We got mayonnaise, and I got a nice little falafel wrap.
You got a wee crunch. We got
a nice little crunch.
A crunch and luncheon. A
crunch and luncheon together, and we got a little multi-pack of water, which then didn't come in handy at all, because part of our rider was a case of water.
Which is quite nice.
Which was very, very nice.
And a crate of beer.
That's pretty much as big as we are.
That's it. Yeah, that's the standard, really. And then it was around that time, which is quite good going, around that time where the question of where's Jack
yes,
is he on the bus?
It's always
has he left the house yet?
It's always a big question when Jack needs to, especially when Jack needs to come out to the countryside.
Yeah.
As to whether he's going to make it on time. And he done quite well, actually.
He did quite well.
If
you're nitpicking, you told him to get a 29, which would have taken him straight there. And then he said, "Yeah, I'll definitely do that, bro." And then the next thing you heard from him is, "I'm on a 3."
In the group chat, he had promised me that he was going to get that bus, and I asked him where he was, and he said, "I'm still in the house." And I said, "You're not going to get that bus." And he said, "No, trust me, I am. I know how long it takes to get from mine to the bus stop." And I was like, "You're gonna miss that bus."
Yeah.
And then he did miss the bus, but then he got on another one, and everything was okay.
It was okay. I mean,
it was quite stress free by Jack's standards.
Jack's
and we were running ahead of time at this point.
Yeah.
Because we've got this little technique where we tell Jack to be at things earlier than he actually needs to be there, because you know he's going to be late.
But you're saying that he's wise to it now. I mean, he's definitely wise to it now, because if you listen to this, and he'll know now.
It used to work really well. For example, if we had to meet at 3, we would tell Jack 2, and Jack would be 45 minutes late, us 15 minutes early, and it worked fucking beautifully for a while. And then he got wise to it.
Yeah.
So then I used to tell him separately, in a different chat, not in the group chat, the time that we should meet. He would start replying with stuff like, "Is this just an earlier time you're telling me so that I'm actually there on time? Don't be so fucking disrespectful and tell me the right time to be there." And I'm like, then tell him the right time and go, "Okay, but make sure you're actually there."
Yeah.
And then he'd be 45 minutes fucking late. And you're going, right, okay, so I don't want to be disrespectful, but at the same time, I do want to just organise things so that people are there on time. We call it Jack time. So you get GMT.
Yeah.
We've got JLT, which is Jack late time. So 2 p.m. GMT would be 1 p.m. JLT, which is Jack late time. So he's totally wise to it now. And he's got a lot better. He used to be terrible for
absurdly bad.
I've
heard like stories of how bad he was, and I've had a really cushy time with Jack.
Back
really.
back in the dark ages of the band, where Jack would just turn up to practice with 5 minutes to go.
Oh man, that's
Big shout out to
unacceptable.
Jack for being a total lover boy, though. What a legend!
I couldn't imagine Jack not being in my life.
Such
really.
a absolutely beautiful character, and there's no one else under the sun that could have been as late to as many important things as him, and me still love him with every single inch of my body.
Man, I'll never not.
He gets away with it.
I can never forget
He rocks it.
when we do. It's his thing, man. 8 hours late to recording the guitars for Ravenous.
8 hours late's a fucker. That's like, that's long. That's long.
8 hours late. That's a day, man. That's
Yeah.
a whole day. I think I said like arrive at 11, and then I just cracked on with some other stuff.
He got
And
there
then
like 7 p.m.
8 p.m. something like that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, you're probably right. It wasn't because it was late enough for it to be like we should probably not crank these amps now, but like not late enough to be like I think we can still do this.
Yeah.
So
There's an incredible story about once when he was coming to my flat, and he was like 6 or 7 hours late that day, and he said he was gonna come over in the morning. We were gonna have a big writing session, and I was like, that's cool, but I've got to go at like 6 p.m. or something.
Yeah.
And like I can't leave any later than that. That's when I need to be on the bus into town. So it got to like 5:45, right? PM. At this point, he's running 5 or 6 hours late. I've sent him 100 million messages, but his phone's dead.
Yeah. Which is a regular occurrence.
Turns out he's on the bus at this point.
Yeah.
So it gets to 5:45, and I'm like, well, he's not coming now. You know, I may as well go into town 15 minutes early for my benefit. Then he gets there at like 5 to 6, just after I had left. And I think I had sent him a message saying like, if you're not here by 6, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And then it got to 5:45, and I'm like, well, he's not gonna come here.
Yeah.
now. And he tried to use that against me at a later point, like, well, I got there at 5 to 6, and you had left, you fucking dickhead. And I was like, well, you were 7 hours late, bro. 6 was the final straw, and I didn't really truly mean it anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got to mine, and I wasn't there, so he was just chapping the door and ringing the buzzer, and there was no fucker in.
I know. Yeah.
And his phone was dead, and he had no money.
Because he was like, well, if I get to Billy's, I can at least get some money off Billy so I can get home.
To borrow
but
bus
of course, you're not there.
So I'm not there, and he's got no money.
Yeah.
So instead of like walking to my work where he knows that is, or like walking to someone's house, you know, like my dad's or something, and like asking to use a phone or something, or even he could have went to my work and said, "Oh, I'm Billy's pal. Can I borrow 170 out of the till and get Billy to pay it back?" Or can you phone Billy to make sure that's all right or something? And they would recognise Jack in my work. He just walked home from S Bank to town. It took him like 5 hours.
Honestly, to from the centre of town to Jack's bit, it probably takes.
Oh, I think it took him best part of 5 hours.
Yeah, it takes a long time to
It's
maybe
so much
walk.
further than you think.
Yeah.
Like you get to Cameron Toll and you think you're kind of in town,
Oh, you are not.
and you're fucking not.
You are
Especially
not.
when you go on the far end, like Granton End.
Yeah, really, you are not.
And it was dark. It was winterish time, so I think it was fucking freezing.
Yeah.
And like by the time from like between one of these days where between 6 and 7 is when it gets pitch black.
Yeah.
So maybe not like the dead of winter, but you know, at some point near that kind of time of year.
Yeah.
So he was like, kind of just trying to walk that way, not really knowing where he was, and it got pitch black. And there's quite a lot of bits there that aren't really lampposted very well.
Oh, see, getting like in a bus there is spooky. Walking there is just kind of like, well, I don't know where I'm going.
So yeah, he just he had to walk back from S Bank to town that day.
Silly prick.
The ultimate price of being 7 hours late. And I did feel quite bad when I found out he'd walked home. I was like, come on, man, like there's other options here.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't want to just like be all awkward and go to your work and that. And it's like, well,
I mean, it was either that or walk 7 hours to go home.
even like walking for 5 hours is probably doable if you've got tunes in your ear.
Yeah, but
Or your phone to look at or something.
Yeah,
his
but his
phone's
phone was
dead.
dead.
Like he's just walking for 5 hours in the pitch black. What a boy.
Anyway.
That's what Jack goes through to not riff.
Yeah.
Think about what he goes through to riff.
I know.
He's done a lot of crazy, silly journeys for the sake of the riff, and
what
I
was it
appreciate
like?
that very,
What was
very
it like
much.
the Heavy Scotland where he was early, but only because he'd walked all the way from
That
a
was
party.
fucker.
He'd walked all
He
the way from.
slept outside the corn exchange to make sure he was there on time. That is an unbelievable story.
He's not here, and I can't really do it justice. But yeah, that's a thing he has done.
It was one of those ones where it's like, okay, Heavy Scotland. This is like pre-flop, where like Heavy Scotland became the laughing stock festival of Scotland, and it was already kind of on the brink at this point with certain people. But I don't think anyone had a true right at that point to class it as a flop. And that year was actually fucking gnarly. We had a great time there, and anyway, we'd said to Jack like, "Oh, we've got to be there at this time. Make sure you're there on time."
Yeah.
It's a fucking half decent gig, mate.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're on time, and just to make sure, he just. Instead of going home after the party he was at the night before, he just fucking walked to the corn exchange and just lay on the bench and slept outside it. So when we got there, he's like, "Where the fuck have you guys been?" It's just like looks like a zombie having slept on a bench and steaming. And it's just like, oh, Jack, you're just a very, very individual type of person. I just loved his logic. Like, he didn't trust himself to get out of bed.
Yeah.
So it's like, instead of having the comfort of a bed, which then creates the risk of you being comfy and not getting out of it,
Yeah.
he just slept on a bench outside the corn exchange.
Mental.
He's done a lot of crazy things for the sake of the riff, and it just makes it funny because they're not needed.
I mean, I think I love the riff for punching myself in the head lots of times, but Jack has metaphorically punched himself in the head with far with much bigger velocity and impact.
It's just like these hilarious, uniquely Jack examples of dedication to the riff.
Yeah.
That no one else is ever going to have to go through to prove their dedication to the riff.
Yeah, no one really needs
because no one uses
the
brain in that way.
Yeah.
But he's tapped into this very individual side of himself where crazy things occur in the name of the riff.
Anyway, so that's some backstory as to why we then asked that question, where's Jack? Is he on the bus? So
it turns out he was.
Yeah, so everything was fine, and he was greeted by three brothers, because Tucker had been there.
Up. Yeah, Tucker rocked up.
Yeah. We don't really need to talk much about Tucker, because Tucker's
just 2 minutes down the road from me.
Yeah, and he's really reliable anyway, so...
Tucker's really reliable that when it gets to like 10 seconds past the time he says he's going to be there, I bombard him with messages calling him a doubted Judas rat bastard. Like, where the fuck are you? That's how reliable Liam is.
Yeah, totally.
We can use it against him when he's 1 minute late.
Yeah.
But yeah, we all had a weird like group hug at S Bank Roundabout, which is like totally my abode.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Christ, what if all the regulars at my work see me in this disgusting situation with these like three ratty guys that they think I'm a nice boy at work.
I hope they all fucking talk shit about you at work.
Jack went into my work apparently before he...
Oh yeah, so he did.
And I was at work today and Andy was like, "Oh, your dirty long-haired pal was in the shop the other day."
With your dirty long-haired pal?
He was like, "It must have been your pal because he had big scraggly hair like you." And I was like, "Was it Jack?" And he was like, "Oh, I think that's his name." And I was like, "It was definitely Jack."
That's a nice insight into the people that work at the shop that you work at.
It's not the type of person that comes into the kind of establishment where I work. He's
He's one of a kind. He's a townie.
The kind of guy that when he rocks into a nice suburban store like my store, the fucking boss is in the back room going, "Keep an eye on the CCTV."
Yeah.
A guy with a guitar on his back and long hair just walked in. And I'm like, "Excuse me, that's my fucking best pal."
Excuse me, that's basically me as well.
Excuse me, that's me just on the other side of the counter.
Anyway, so and then we...
Christ, this is a long tale. This is every detail of the day. We're not anywhere near the gig yet.
So then we get the gear into the car.
And we load up the car with everything but the merch box. And we left. We got stuck in a little bit of traffic, but the journey was fine. You had a nice little nap.
As journeys go, that was tame. Very tame.
Oh yeah, that was fine. Everything's tame after that fucking London snowstorm we were stuck in that time.
Man, Choki
I'm waiting
was
for
just,
something to fucking
Oh man,
top that. That was a classic.
everybody was so frightened apart from Choki, who was driving, and he was just laughing at every single person, just swerving off the road, just like, there goes another one.
He's a truly bizarre driver, right? Because when everything's essentially fine,
Yeah.
and like someone does a very minor inconvenient thing on the road, he's like, well, that fucking cunt on the road, a fucking another cunt on the road. I'm a fucking cunt in a 4x4. And then like when we're in a fucking snowstorm on the fucking hugest motorway in the United Kingdom,
Just chilling.
and fucking lorries and cars are literally spinning around us, and we're all fucking shitting ourselves, he's just going, some laugh this one, eh? It's just like, what the fuck is going on?
An absolute
He just
road warrior.
Accesses this really angry part of his mind over minor inconveniences,
Yeah.
and then something truly awful happens and it just gets brushed off his shoulder.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Choki,
So, yeah.
aka your dad, is the
Yes,
true
my
road
dad is-
warrior.
My dad is the road crew. That's an insight to how these bands work.
Yeah.
Most bands at our level kind of have some kind of guy that's going to do the driving. It's usually like a pal
Mm-hmm.
or a fan or a family member, essentially.
Yeah.
So dad's the road crew.
Yeah, dad is the road crew.
Best road crew you could get, because
Yeah.
he's like a tour manager. He's got really good organizational skills, and he's
We're
quite
like,
into it. He
so we
enjoys
kind
it
of
all.
like we kind of swap between Choki and Pat,
Yeah,
and Pat is basically
they're
kind
two
of,
great options to have.
they're absolutely incredible because like you've got Choki who's like chill as fuck, and you've got Pat who's also chill as fuck, but like just
Quite good energy about him.
yeah,
he's good at riling us up.
he's kind of mad.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess he's kind of mad. I think that's like with like Choki, it's like there's never really that much music on, and it's like all kind of a chill vibe and stuff. With Pat, it's just like non-stop chat, heavy as fuck music.
Heavy fucking tunes. Yeah, Pat will rile you up. So if you're on a journey to a gig with Pat driving, when you get there, you're fucking buzzed and you're ready to go.
Honestly, man, like Pat's basically just sort of like one of the bros.
Pat's a legend, man.
Yeah, Pat's absolutely unbelievably great.
A great guy and very supportive of the band and just willing to help.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's not like
he's helped us out a ton in so many different ways, and he's always
just a good supportive dude.
there's always like
His
that kind
heart's
of,
in the right place, and that's what I look for most in someone. 'Cause
yeah,
loads of people approach you and offer help in some way or another, and somewhere down the road you realise you've got to give them something in return. And in certain cases that's totally justified. In some
Yeah.
cases it's not.
because if they've done the work, then it's fine. But like Pat's he's just there for the sheer love of the riff,
He is.
and I don't, for some reason he just really thinks Disposable are sick. So
He
it's-
just loves the band, and
yeah,
he's very down to earth and nice about it.
yeah,
And he's like, oh yeah, do you guys need to drive there? Because I'll drive you through.
yeah.
And it's just, the offer's just on the table.
But he's also the kind of guy who will just, because we can network, like we're not total fuds,
Yeah.
but like when Pat's around, we end up networking to fuck, because he'll like make us like really like totally like, oh well, like, you know, like I don't know what I'm.
He's just
you know
not
what I mean?
afraid of telling you if you're doing something shite.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And
sometimes
he's
he'll
always-
say that you're doing something shite and we don't think we're doing it shite.
Yeah,
And then we'll have a discussion about it and be like, well, that's why we don't think this is shite. There's a good
and
there's a
Pat's
good
always
communication of discussion
and
about
Pat's
it.
always so great for going like, okay, that's fair enough.
He's got a good
I
open mind to stuff like that.
Yeah, I still think you should do it this
'Cause I
way.
think sometimes he's said stuff to us or maybe other people where people have kind of been taken aback by
Yeah,
how he's just plonked a piece of advice out into the open.
yeah,
And sometimes it can come across like, well, is that your place to say that?
yeah,
And we kind of surpass that point really quickly.
yeah.
So if we don't agree, then we just have a great discussion about it and we talk about it. There's a good communication there.
I think for me, like Pat's a big man on campus, so it's just kind of like, if he said something about what you do that's maybe could be better, it's kind of like, well, I should probably fucking listen.
Yeah, he doesn't mean it as an insult.
Oh, it never does, and I don't even really.
I like his smile and his voice the most.
I just like the fact that he's just a big cuddly bro.
He's just a big cuddly bear.
He is, man. Fuck.
And he's got a nice Swiss accent.
I actually really miss Pat, and I wish he was here right now.
Shout out, Pat. Pat, thanks for all that.
Pat,
you've
where
done
are
for
you,
us.
and why are you not in my house right now? I love you so much.
Pat would be a good guy to get on the podcast. That would be cool, actually.
That's nonsense that we haven't even thought about that.
I feel a bit ashamed of myself, actually.
I'm going to punch myself in the head 5 times.
I'm going to throw my jeans in the bin and fucking walk home from S Bank to town.
Anyway, so we get to the gig.
Yes, we got
and
to
there's
the
the
gig.
usual kind of semi-palaver of getting into Glasgow.
Yeah, the traffic was...
Glasgow's like one of those funny places, like, when you're getting in, and this is not a story about today, but it's like in one of the other bands that I've been in, we've tried to get into Glasgow, and there's a certain junction when you're trying to get off the bypass to get to the gig. So maybe when you're off the bypass, or you're getting on, and then it's like the gig itself and the venue is maybe 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
But then once you like miss that turn on the bypass, you're essentially having to go all the way back out of Glasgow.
Yeah.
Go into like a kind of suburb in like the outskirts, turn round and try it again.
Yeah.
There was like one band with like, there were like one time that I was doing this with my band Design. I was with the bass player Craig. We tried it 4 times.
That's unbelievable.
And it was fine, but we were like so late to load in, and like poor Craig, he was losing his fucking mind.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like choking, going like, "Oh, son, ride this, eh?" Oh. He was just sort of like sweating, like clenching the wheel, going like, "I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this." So we didn't have that this time.
No, it was fine.
Sometimes you
traffic never hurt Chokey.
No, yeah.
If anything, it's just a nice reason for him to get a bit angry.
Yeah, exactly.
He does like getting a little bit angry.
Yeah, exactly.
It's healthy for his soul.
Yeah, I mean, he's retired. He doesn't have much else.
So yeah, we then rolled up, and I realised I didn't have the merch box. I got extraordinarily upset at myself.
Nobody else cared.
And then what made it very much better is upon walking into the venue, we bumped into G. Smith from Kingpin.
The big old Gary.
Gary Smith.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was under the impression the Kingpin Boys weren't going to be there.
Yeah.
Because the Pestilence gig that was happening around the corner, they're all big Pestilence fans.
Yeah.
So they were at that, and they'd all individually sent me a really nice message being like, "Hey bro, I'm really sorry that we're not going to make it to the gig. We're going to Pestilence."
Which is absolutely lovely.
And I'm like, oh God, how can I be even remotely annoyed at how lovely all of you are? And Gary was so lovely, they actually came around just to see us.
I know, which is incredible.
And apologise in person.
Yeah. So he hung out for a bit, which is really nice.
And he gave us some aftershave. He'd bought some nice Lacoste aftershave.
Gary, if you're listening, please message me what that aftershave was, because I really liked the odour of it.
Yeah, it was actually nice. And
like
I'm not a big aftershavey kind of guy. I don't wear it at all.
I think I mentioned this to Gary, but I feel like I should get into smells a lot more. I feel like there's...
It's quite an untapped sense.
Yeah. So yeah, Gary, hit me up. What he said it was Lacoste and he got it for like £2, but I'm like,
wow,
I would like to get that Lacoste for £2. Because
I think I'm quite picky with aftershave. Like usually I smell them all and I'm like, nah, I'd rather wear nothing.
Yeah. But
that was like, and also there's a nice kind of like fuzzy feeling knowing that I'm gonna smell like Gary Smith.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, because the only reason
he's always smelled quite nice. He's
just
quite a nice smelling guy.
He's just great.
He is a fuzzy bear, and like I smile when I see him.
Yeah, I smile at the idea of it.
I'm smiling right now talking about him.
Yeah, I'm just so happy.
He's got a nice...
We've got a lot of wholesome bros kicking around.
He's got a really wholesome nature to him. And like, I don't know, like to me as an Edinburgh boy, he's like the sort of classic stereotypical
Glasgow man.
Really nice Glasgow man.
Yeah.
And
yeah, he's fantastic.
I love him dearly. He's great. So yeah, we bumped into him and that was really nice.
We put the gear into a corner of the venue, as is the usual thing.
That's it. Bunged it all in the fucking corner.
Yeah.
In amongst the grime and the sweat.
Got told it wasn't quite in the corner enough.
That's
so we then had to put it more into a corner.
Physically push it further into the wall.
I think I like chucked my guitar into the kind of weird, this kind of hole around like different areas of like the gear. I think we heard it kind of like smash on the ground. And
that'll be fine.
And then like a couple, I think like you and maybe whoever else was there just kind of went, oh no, that's not good. And I think I just went, it's fine. And then
they survive.
And then like what got on stage and my guitar was even more out of tune than it usually is. And I was like, oh yeah, that time I threw it on the ground.
That time we pressed it into like the tiniest space possible.
Yeah,
so yeah, and then we got to watch Ifreann sound check, which was cool.
It was nice to see their new lineup before they
I was super
played.
I was super buzzed about seeing them. Obviously, we had them on the podcast.
Yeah.
We chatted to them quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And we've kind of, me and you have been chatting a lot because we're planning some stuff later on for the year and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just been like really in tune with them communication-wise recently.
Yeah.
So that added to just the excitement of seeing them. And I'm always quite excited to see them because they've been good. But there's this whole like, I don't know, nervous energy in the air because of the two new guitar players.
Yeah.
And like, I wasn't skeptical, but like I was, you know, just intrigued to see. But because I didn't really know anything about them as guitar players. Hadn't seen them play guitar.
Yeah,
really
up until
before.
I'd like met Ben, I didn't really know anything.
So I was interested in the stuff that they play and the stuff that they had to learn. I know was super tight,
Yeah.
crazy stuff. You know, it's not like they're going and having to learn Smoke on the Water.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
they're learning like really tight, picky thrash, like difficult stuff.
It's like it's difficult endurance stuff,
Yeah,
and it's hard
yeah.
to keep tight for as long as they have to.
And like, I don't know, when we got you, there was always Jack that knew all the stuff
Yeah.
really, really well.
Whereas,
so there was always that person to turn to. Whereas they had two new guitar players.
Yeah, so the person they turn to is the drummer and the bass player,
Yeah.
which is,
Like,
you know,
no one wants to have to do that.
I know, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they sounded really great.
Yeah, so like the nervous energy kind of cleared a little bit after the sound check.
Yeah,
'Cause
as
I
soon
was
as
like, okay, they're actually going to be fucking totally fucking fine here.
I mean, for me, like I was, because it was the first gig of the year for me, I'd been quite nervous about it. But as soon as I like woke up, I think as soon as I'd gotten really angry over nothing.
As soon as you'd screamed at a spoon, it was like, can today get any fucking worse?
Yeah, and then I had like a sleep in the car. Then you get out of the car and you feel relatively groggy to the point where you're kind of like, I could just go to bed now. I don't even know if I can be arsed playing a show.
Yeah.
So I'm not even nervous about it. And then I get into the venue and it feels like, I don't know, gigs for me when they're like, they just feel like you're playing like a house party. Like a house party, or you're just in a practice room, but there's a whole lot of people having some tinnies watching you.
Well, that's kind of all there is to it.
Yeah. So as soon as I kind of like got back into the headspace, because it had been kind of a while since, and like this is a kind of a big gig, so it was just kind of like, oh fuck, like, whoa, what's going on here? So as soon as I kind of settled back into how it usually is, I was like, this is fine. I'm going for the KFC.
It was a weird one in the sense, like, it wasn't the biggest gig ever.
Yeah.
But it was like big enough that because it was the first gig of the year and we were a little bit out of the gigging sort of vibe for a couple of months, it was big enough to be like, oh fuck, we should probably be good at this one.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I kind of relaxed into it. The moment I realised I'd forgot the merch box, I was like, if that's all that fucks up today, then I'm okay with that.
There's always
it's a bit
that
of a shitter.
Yeah, there's always that like point with any
Financially,
gig where if you're kind of a little bit nervous or uncertain about it, and then one thing immediately goes wrong, you're kind of like, oh, that's fine, I don't care anymore. Is that a gig where we had nay cabs?
I'm not even. No, let's not talk about the no cab gig. In fact, which one?
Well,
Because
the
that's
one
how fucking bad it is. It's
well, like the
happened
one,
twice.
well, like the one that we played with Ewan.
Ah, yes.
Because that probably wasn't too bad, but that was one where I was just sort of like, you know, just really not sure about the gig and just couldn't really be bothered, and woke up from a nap and I kind of felt okay, and then I like felt kind of like, this is maybe going to be all right.
I was feeling dead good about that gig.
Got a message from you going, there's nay cabs, and I immediately went straight back to sleep going like, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
We wrote that one off immediately when we walked in. And the promoter was like, we don't have any cabs. And I was like, wow. Like, holy fuck. Wow. you had one job.
Yeah, I know, yeah, totally. And
it turned into quite a fun show.
Yeah, every single
just
guitar.
every band sounded fucking naff.
Yeah.
Apart from Killjoy, who had their own guitar amp.
So
they then came on and sounded fucking brilliant in comparison.
Yeah.
So it worked in their favour.
Every single metal band sounded like their guitars were coming out of a car radio. Whereas like
it was quite funny. Yeah. It was quite funny.
It was good, man. It was fun. I mean, like nobody could hear me anyway, so I just ran around the venue.
It was just like funny in that tragic kind of way.
Which is kind of like why you'll never ever have a
humor,
that's never why you'll ever have a bad gig, because when you have a good gig, it's like, oh fuck, that was good, and if you have a bad gig, it's just funny.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I try not to get angry about stuff. Like, I don't get angry about gigs. I used to get like a bit angry and resentful about gigs that were crap.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of just like, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was absolutely.
Because we are just at that level where some gigs are going to be fucking fantastic and some gigs are going to be fucking naff.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how it works at the level that we're at. But anyway, this was like quite a reasonable gig. Like, we knew that people were going to go to it.
Yeah.
And audio's a nice venue. It's a nice size. I don't know what the capacity is. It's like 250 maybe.
I think
max,
that's what
maybe.
you said, 250,
It's
and
quite,
it was like about
you know,
200 were coming.
It's a nice size, and it's a nice sort of low stage, but it's still quite wide and big. And I don't know, it's just a nice venue for a band at our level to play. You know what I mean? It's not a tiny little sweatbox, and it's not this big thing that's going to look empty.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice, and it's just a nice venue, and I really like the staff there. The staff are always really nice, and
Yeah, they always
I
seem
don't know
really
the lady's
down to
name
earth.
that was kind of running the show that evening, but I spoke to her a few times at
She
other
was
gigs and stuff,
lovely.
and she's lovely, and she's just
She like kept speaking to me and just being like, just
feel bad
really
'cause I
nice.
can't remember her name. And the sound guy is like one of these weird mutuals
Yeah,
that knows Liam from the Skababs
yeah.
and also knows Liam from Disposable, and there's not many people on the
There's
planet
not, yeah.
that make that correlation, and
He
I always
was really
forget.
nice.
and
He's
then
like one of those sound guys that you put your stuff up on stage, and he immediately starts like plugging it in for you.
yeah, that's it.
And I
He's
just
there
feel,
to help, man.
yeah, I just like immediately feel bad, but and it's just sort of like, oh well, I suppose that's what you should be doing anyway.
Yeah,
But at the same
yeah.
time, it's like, thank you so much for doing that. And he's like, do you have a speaker cable? No, because I'm an idiot, and I ripped my jeans and threw
them in the
them
bin.
in.
What do you mean I have a speaker cable? I fucking screamed at a spoon earlier.
Yeah, and he was just sort of like, oh, that's fine, try this, see if it works, lol. And it's like, yes.
Yeah, he's just like, I like a sound guy that's got a nice soothing nature to him. Just
Yeah,
all
it
the
was
staff
great.
there were really nice. They're just dead welcoming, and it was good. They create good vibes at the venue.
So,
And it was cool. So then we watched Ifreann soundcheck, and it was like, okay, they're definitely going to be good.
yeah,
We can officially be totally excited now, and not
Yeah.
excited and also nervous on their behalf.
and we had a lot of time to chill before that because the doors were
What
quite.
did we do in the chill time? We had a KFC. Well, you had a KFC.
I had a KFC. I didn't get any sauce on it, and I was a little bit upset. But then I realised that I had mayonnaise in my bag,
Yeah.
so then I slathered it in mayonnaise, and it went down a treat. Fantastic. Didn't even care that I was taking mayonnaise out of my bag and like an absolute psychopath in a public place, and then
It was
on my
incredible
food.
because your eyes just lit up when you realised you had mayonnaise in your bag. You just kind of announced it to the entire interior of KFC. I've got mayonnaise in my bag. And you just fucking whapped it out and just started covering it and everything. And me and Liam were just like, this boy is into mayonnaise. He likes it.
If there's one thing that
And then
you should know about me is
the,
I like mayonnaise.
Oh, I'm going to feel terrible if I can't remember his name. The photographer dude that had the picture of you.
I feel really bad for not asking his name because I was just so taken aback. It's on my wall now.
It is on your wall. Wow.
So
Is that Eddie? Is it Eddie?
I'm not going to tell the story until we can actually figure out his name.
No,
'cause I
no,
don't
you
wanna-
keep talking and I feel terrible, but I'm going to go on Facebook.
I
and
feel
find it.
even worse because I didn't even bother asking his name, like an absolute wank. But yeah,
Just-
I was chatting with like a couple of my pals who had come through from Edinburgh, and I was having a good time. And then this guy comes over and goes like, "Hey, I was taking pictures of your gig at Cocoa Fest," and then he like whaps out this like big like printed out picture of me, and it's incredible. It's like one of
Eddie. His name's Eddie.
Eddie, you're fucking amazing.
Sorry that we forgot your name there.
I'm sorry that I
feel
didn't even
really-
fucking ask your
I
name.
feel really bad about that.
What a prick I am. But thank you so much for this big printout picture of me. Me, my favourite person to look at. But you know, thank you so much. It was awesome. And it's a great picture.
It was
It's
just a really
fantastic.
lovely... I remember when he uploaded his Cocoa Fest pictures, and
Yeah.
that one in particular was like, oh, that one's really good.
Mm.
Because no one ever kind of gets an angle like that, because it's just you, like, tuning up. But it's right down... It's like down the barrel of a gun, almost.
I remember
but
him
it's
taking that
neck of a
picture
guitar.
and being like, haha, there's... meh.
Yeah, that one's going to be good.
And you can kind of like see me like... it's me kind of like looking at the camera going like, hey...
It was just
Hey.
it was just such a nice and wholesome thing for him to do. Just print it out and then give it to you.
I mean, I
Because
was...
that's premeditated. That's like, oh, Disposable are going to be in Glasgow. I'm going to print that out and give it to him.
I was... yeah.
Like, there's a lot of nice
I'm
people.
so
about
glad I get to talk about this because it's like... Yeah, like... I was so taken aback by it.
Yeah,
I was just like, excuse me?
yeah.
It's so fucking lovely, and it's
Yeah.
gone straight on my wall, and I'm probably gonna get my flatmate to try
And it
and
looks
get
ace,
like
and it's like a proper printout. It's not like a piece of paper. It's like a glossy fucking.
yeah,
poster
I'm
print.
gonna see if I can get my flatmate to get a frame for it because
Yeah.
And I'm probably not meant to blue tack stuff on my wall. Hence, on my other posters, they're all kind of like my daily routine is to like part of my daily routine is to go up and kind of flatten my posters down with like the sellotape leave on so they don't fucking fall off.
Yeah,
And so many of my posters are now ruined because of that. But I
Yeah.
specifically went out and bought blue tack today
nice.
to like make sure it went on. I don't ever have to ruin it because
That's class.
yeah.
it was just a really nice and wholesome thing for him to do. It was cool.
So Eddie, you're incredible. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, that was sick. It was a nice thing to witness. It was just a nice, kind deed for no reason.
I was just like so taken aback.
You don't
It
see
was
many
like
of
he was
them.
like, so wrap that up and put it in like the wee thing that I'd given you. And I was just like, oh, so look,
You just went into like this mode where you were kind of bewildered that someone had done a nice thing for you, that you just lost the ability to roll it up, and you just held it there, and he sort of took it back off you.
you're just
rolled
sort of like,
it
no,
up
no, like
like
this,
you're
come
a
on,
kid.
like this, yeah. And I was just like, thanks.
That was class, and you had a little rucksack that was essentially empty to put it in.
Yeah,
'Cause usually
man.
that would have just had to sit out and got fucked, but because you bought the Mayo honey rucksack purely just to hold a bit of fucking tuna in on the journey, you then had a perfect place to put it, so it is actually still in mint condition.
Always have a rucksack is my lesson for you.
So it was great. You just had like this little Ollers sack of like
Goodies.
Oliver goodies, a wee nice printout of yourself, a bit of tuna, mayonnaise, and it was just like, it was incredible.
All the essentials you need. A little
That's it.
picture to remind yourself of who you are.
That's it. No merch.
Some mayonnaise
no
to put
fucking
on your
merch,
food.
but a
No
fucking
fucking
rucksack full of fucking mayonnaise. It was
Anyway,
class. That was awesome. So then we went to KFC, and then we came back, and kind of doors had opened,
yeah.
and it was ace. There was a nice Edinburgh crew that started rocking up.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the Edinburgh peeps that came through.
Oh man, that yeah.
It was really nice to
I was
see.
I was looking
a fair
at the
amount of
crowd,
people.
going like, why did Edinburgh come to a show?
Two Edinburgh support bands, I suppose.
I suppose, yeah. But even then, and you're kind of like, oh, because you know, like the
You like us?
I know,
I fucking like these bands.
I know, like the experience of like trying to get Edinburgh folk to come to a Glasgow gig that you're playing, it's almost just like never worth trying.
It's because we play Edinburgh enough
Yeah.
that they don't need to. But I guess we hadn't played. Us and Ifreann hadn't really played for a couple of months, so
Yeah.
you know. It's
Glasgow.
nice to-
I mean,
it's nice to know
Glasgow's
that
much.
there are people out there that will travel.
Glasgow's much better
and
anyway.
and a
to be
fair
honest.
few, yeah.
Yeah, it's a better city. I like it.
It was nice, and there was bumped into quite a lot of the Glasgow crew that
Yeah.
came along that were as welcoming as they always are.
Yeah.
Dead nice. It was good. The vibe started picking up a little bit,
Mm.
and it was good. The turnout for the first band was good.
Yeah, and Ifreann played really well.
Ifreann's set was really good.
Really, really, really
And
good.
I was dead excited to see it.
I was really, really impressed with Jacob's bass playing because,
Yeah, man.
well, like I had my earplugs in, and so all I could really hear was his bass, and it was great. It was fucking class.
He's got a cool technique where it's kind of
There was
like
certain-
he jumps between a lot of different stuff.
It's like that kind of rolling thing that he does with 3 fingers, and then ends it with like a slap.
He's got
With
a
the
very
thumb.
loose right hand. It's almost like he's not that
It's-
fussed what he's doing with his right hand. He just fucking mash the bass.
But it's
It
so
sounds good.
fluid and it sounds so tight. It's
There's
like
a great bit in one of the songs where like the drums and the bass are just on their own, kind of stabbing while the guitars are riffing, like
Yeah.
bong, bong, bong,
Mm.
and he just fucking thumbs it,
Yeah.
thumbs that fucking low string, and just it sounds great,
Oh,
like
man.
slap style. But like I'm not that into slap bass for a bass player.
Ifreann
Usually bass
overall.
players are.
Yeah, Ifreann overall were absolutely class last night.
Yeah, Ewan's drumming was on point.
Both new guitarists were absolutely awesome.
Liam was impressed by Ewan's drumming, and I mean I'm impressed by drumming anyone that can play more than fucking
Ewan
AC/DC,
really knocked it out of the park last
because
night.
I'm not into drums, but Liam obviously is
Yeah.
a very wise guy drum.
I was like me and Alicia were like looking back on the vids today, and I was just sort of like, "Aye, right, like that." Ewan was really, really good last night.
yeah, he was really good. I mean, he's always good, but he was like,
yeah, he was really, really
he was
on
totally
point.
in the zone, and he was enjoying himself.
Ian,
I think it came across like he had that extra adrenaline of the new lineup and stuff.
yeah,
And because he then knew that him and Jacob were being relied on
Yeah.
to do everything
Yeah.
right, it was like they upped their game to make sure that the guitar players felt welcome and
but
safe
he was,
in that environment.
but he was still like putting on a hell of a show while he did it. It was
oh yeah, he
class.
bangs his head, man. He's a
Ian,
fucking thrash metalhead at heart, though.
yeah, Ian, I took him aside at the end of the show and basically just sort of like, "You're incredible."
Love you.
Because yeah, Ian's like,
I was kind of like to Ian. I was like, man, like only 2 or 3 days ago, we had done a podcast where we basically worshipped you like Christ.
yeah,
You know, you done a good show. You know how I feel about you. You know. And I was speaking to his girlfriend, and she was saying like it was really nice what we said about Ian on the podcast and stuff, and they would, you know, Ian was obviously he didn't want to say that,
yeah,
you know, out of humbleness or whatever.
yeah,
But she was like, oh, that was really nice. So
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's good.
and I made sure to basically just summarize anything up in a much less cohesive way. I don't know, actually, how could I make it much less cohesive than the fucking last podcast where
Yeah,
nothing
that's
was
it.
very cohesive at all? But yeah, just go up and just fanboy over him because, like,
And
honestly,
he was on point, man. He was good. He was
it's
good.
like his vocals on like the EP sound like Strapping on Lad era Devon, and I'm like, that's what I want
He
for
was
me.
doing a lot of aggressives.
Yeah,
Like his like
he's got like a voice
his
that
high
can kind of
scream's kind of like quite light, if you know what I mean. Because the way he can blend it into like a high clean scream, like, but he done a lot of like guttural lows and stuff
with the
last
technique that he's got, I reckon, for doing the high screams, and then you'll notice a kind of a difference in intensity.
night. Totally.
However, the way that he does it is so much more intense than other people doing that.
Yeah.
So like with other
It's
people,
well
you
in
can,
his comfort zone. That's the thing.
yeah, with other people, it's like you can tell why that there's like a volume or a kind of intensity gap because it's a different part of his of their voice.
Yeah.
With Ian, it's like I'm not actually 100% sure.
He seems to be quite strong in all ranges.
Yeah, he's
He can belt them all.
yeah.
And he was good, and he was on point. He was he was having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Fantastic.
were great.
Yeah,
And we should talk about Ben and Alina because
Yeah,
that was their first show.
Alina's solos
Very
absolutely
shreddy.
fantastic.
Very fucking shreddy. Ben solos, very fucking shreddy.
Very, very shreddy.
Unfortunately, Ben solos were a little quiet out front.
Yeah,
That's what I noticed.
yeah. I think like
I could hear them.
yeah, I
It
could hear
wasn't
them.
like sometimes you go to a gig and you can't hear them.
Yeah,
I could hear them, but they were a touch quiet.
both of their
But they were
presences
shredding hard.
on stage, very, very great.
They were really good. They were really good.
I'm just so fucking
They were
excited for Ifreann now.
they obviously had like a few nerves there,
Yeah,
and like you could tell they were concentrating on the parts quite
Yeah.
a bit. Obviously, like that first gig, kind of nerves or whatever. Like the first time you're playing, like as Ben was saying, like his first live gig in like 3 years or something.
oh god, yeah,
So
that's heavy going.
but they weren't noticeable to the point where like you were looking at them going, they're two new nervous guitar players.
Yeah,
And after a couple of songs, they were getting into it. The head started fucking banging a bit.
mm.
They were fucking moving about. They were doing their thing, standing back to back for the melodies and shit.
Yeah, it was
just
class, yeah.
They had a good connection as guitar players, which was good.
Overall, just a banging band.
It was really good. They done
Yeah.
really well. They didn't play No Passaran, which really fucking annoyed me. But you can't win them all.
I had like the only song that was really in my head at the end of the night was No Passaran, really.
It was hilarious that after that, me and you were humming No Passaran. And it's like the only song we hadn't heard that night.
I know.
That's how catchy that one is.
Take a hint, lads. Anyway.
Take the fucking hint.
Anyway,
But they done
so
really well, and I'm dead proud of
yeah,
the two new guitar players for what they did. It was good. They done well. They should be proud of themselves.
you should give yourselves big pats on the back.
Give all of your own backs a pat, and then each other's backs patted too.
No
it was
back
nice.
should be unpatted by the end of
It was
that.
nice. It was just nice to see them. Nice to see them all again.
Yeah.
It was good, and as I say, like because we'd done the podcasts and indulged ourselves in their presence
Mhm.
quite a bit beforehand, it added to that kind of like awareness as to who they were and what they were feeling about, which was cool. Like sometimes it's nice to not have a clue who the people are, and it gives you that kind of sense of like, oh my god, who's this crazy person I have? This crazy stranger that's amazing on stage.
Yeah.
But there's also a great satisfaction from like, I know a lot personally about these people.
Yeah.
You know, these are like passionate pals and musicians. So it was good. I was dead chuffed. And then obviously we played.
Oh yeah.
And then we had to fucking play.
We.
So
I
what
really
are
enjoyed
your
it.
thoughts about us, our set? What's your immediate thought of our set?
I
Because I
think-
feel good about it.
I think we did really, really, really well.
I feel pretty damn good about it. I think we played tight ass.
Don't want to honk my own horn, but you know, I think we did pretty good. I was just really glad that like I actually settled into it because I was a bit like, oh, how the fuck is this gonna work? And you know, my usual kind of like, oh, is my gear gonna make any sound?
Yeah.
And I was like I was making sure to take the time instead of rushing it and
Yeah.
being like, why isn't it working? It's like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
put the fucking speaker cable in or something.
Yeah.
Or it's like it's still on standby, and every time you flick it onto standby, you think it's off standby, so you're kind of
That's it.
going.
Sometimes in the heat of the moment, you kind of lose your
Yeah.
I don't know,
yeah,
you
lose
your place a little bit. or
lose your
something.
marble. So yeah, I I managed to make some sound. We were all kind of like,
by our standards, setup was pretty good and easy actually.
Yeah,
Everyone
totally.
seemed to be fine about it. It was good because there's always, for some reason with us, I don't know if it's just us or every other band, but when we're setting up, it's always like, what's going to go wrong?
Yeah.
And whenever something doesn't go wrong, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah. It was
an interesting setup on stage because the drums are like way off to the side because
yeah.
the stage isn't that big at audio. I mean, it's big enough.
Yeah,
like,
and the drum kit for Lost Society was already set up, and it's a big kit, so there's no point breaking it down.
Yeah, of course. No, that would just be silly.
Yeah, so
and obviously wasn't going to let people use that kit. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but yeah, so the drum kit had to be off to the side. So that was quite interesting as well.
Yeah, it was good. I've seen bands play like that, but it was nice to have it, nice to do it. And
I noticed when we were watching Ifreann, you could see Ewan so well.
Yeah.
And you weren't actually. I'm not actually used to seeing drummers that well.
You're probably going, maybe Ewan is always that incredible, and we just can't see him.
If you could stand off to the side, you could almost see round the kit.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting this really cool view of the drum kit that you couldn't get. And like, if there's two drummers you want to be in that situation, it's probably Ewan and Liam.
Yeah.
They're both quite interesting,
very
dynamic kind of drummers.
Performers. So yeah, it was cool. Really fun. Void went really well for me. Didn't feel like the first time I'd played it, which was really nice.
Well, we'll start at the start of the set.
Okay.
So yeah, we done a nice little line check.
Yeah.
We were saying about how like we're the easiest band ever to line check because sound guy comes up to us like, "You want a sound check?" And we're like, "Nah, yeah, what? Nah, no."
Do we have time for one? It's like, not really. Guess no then.
So you happy with just a line check? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like, everyone goes on, makes a bit of noise, and it's like, okay, let's just play a few open notes all together.
I like
everyone hear each other. Yeah.
I like the fact that the crowd is watching us at that point.
Yeah.
And we're basically just setting up like we would in a fucking practice room.
Yeah, it's nice, man. It's
yeah, I like it. Yeah.
It's homely and family vibes.
Yeah. Then we start some fucking feedback and go into Swarm. So
Swarm, that's a new one.
Yeah.
That's the first track on the album that's coming out.
Yeah.
Very soon. We've played that live a few times and we play it a lot in the practice room.
Yeah.
It's at that point now where I feel totally comfortable playing it.
It's such an easy opener for me.
I'm past the point of having to concentrate on that one.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of nail that one at the moment. We're doing because it's new enough to we get the adrenaline of playing a new song.
Yeah.
But we've also played it enough in the practice room where it feels totally comfortable now.
Yeah.
And the vocals were sounding great. Everyone was.
Yeah, man. For like that honey water for that one clean part that I had to do the whole set really did the trick.
Well, that's it. And the first song as well, when your voice is fresh and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the more tough ones for me.
Yeah.
For my vocal style, because there's a lot of like long stuff and like fast wording and stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, it's nice to have that one at the start because it's a little bit tougher. So if you were to do that at the end of the set,
yeah,
you know, I'd maybe struggle with it once my energy's lapping a little bit. Lacking.
Lapping up those energies.
Like a dog in a fucking dog bowl of energy.
Energy bowl. Energy trough.
So that was good. And then we played Void, which was an old one risen from the dead. Yeah. It kind of occurred to me at the time, I think the last time we played Void live was in audio.
Oh, really?
When we supported Iron Reagan. I think that was the last time we played Void live.
Mental. That's mental. It was good.
I don't know if that's a fact, but it was interesting. It just popped into my head right there, like 10 seconds before I said it.
Void went pretty well.
Yeah.
I didn't, like I said, I've probably said it like 3 times now. It didn't feel like the first time playing it live.
No.
It felt like me like playing like Existence or something. It was
yeah,
just sort of
totally.
like, yeah, it's like, okay, well.
Void's cool. It was nice to have it back. I forgot how much I like playing that one live. I think it's pretty cool. It's a nice song to play. It's quite nothing's particularly difficult in it for me.
Yeah. It's a good banger. And
it's good. It's a nice live one. I think it fits in nicely with the new stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's probably from the At the Foot of the World album. It's probably the most like Life Misguided out of that.
Yeah.
So it fits in with those songs from the set. And it fits in quite nicely with new stuff. Like it didn't feel like we were playing this weird old song.
I think
it was actually always one of my favourites from the album, if not my favourite.
It was one of the few that I could probably like name you from Disposable songs before I joined you.
Loads of people used to come up and say they really liked that one, and for some reason along the way we dropped it out of the set.
Yeah.
And then when you joined, it wasn't one of the priority ones off the album.
Yeah.
For some reason.
And the priority ones were Into the Water, which I had to learn really. Into the Water,
Yeah.
and I only really learnt Into the Water and
Existence.
yeah.
And Addiction.
Later on
they were the three.
Addiction, and then Void. I mean, like, hopefully we can slowly work more and more of the album in.
That's kind of given me hope that we can do that quite quickly and to a high standard.
Yeah, whereas before it was a little bit more difficult for me because I hadn't really done stuff like that for well.
Yeah, that's it.
For-
You're kind
for
of easing
years.
yourself into thrash metal playing,
Yeah.
which for you is like a substantial change in style.
Oh yeah, totally.
So yeah, I mean, Void's a very right hand heavy song.
Yeah.
So like it's an endurance test for you, but it went well. I felt good in it.
I
Nothing
think
jumps out at me as
Yeah.
going wrong.
I think at the tail end of Void, that's when we'd established that Jack had broken his string.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it as early as that?
Yeah, because I think at like near the very end, he'd realised that it's like it had broken just at the bridge.
Ah, I see.
So then we had to do an impromptu little
Skit.
skit.
It was weird because in the car, I'd said like I actually didn't realise we had any spare strings. 'Cause
Yeah.
I knew that I didn't. And you must have been asleep at the point of this conversation.
Yeah.
Because I'd said to Jack, like, go and be careful. Like, just because if you break a string tonight, we don't have any spares.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to turn into that awkward, like, does someone have a guitar? And there's nothing worse.
Yeah.
And
It's
like, breaking a string's bad enough, but at the end of the day, that happens.
Yeah.
And it's fine. And if you've got a string, you just replace it quite quickly. It only takes 2 or 3 minutes or something.
Yeah.
But I'd said to him, don't break a string. And he said, oh, you've only went and fucking jinxed it now. And
like,
I said,
don't
stop being a superstitious idiot.
Hey, don't fucking pin this on me.
Yeah.
You're the idiot who hasn't changed his strings in like 2 years or something like that.
I don't think his strings were that old. Like they were
Yeah.
they were
but
old
they're-
that they were maybe in like the risk zone.
Yeah, and it turns out they were right because it fucking broke it. But yeah, luckily I've got like
shit happens.
a whole bunch of spare strings. It
So-
was lucky that because like my spare strings, I cut them off pretty,
Yeah.
so it so there's not that long, so you could just about reach the neck of the guitar.
Right.
I gave it to him kind of going like, I hope this works.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I can look like the guy who's like really fucking organized. But if it doesn't
Yeah.
work, it'll get kicked right back in my face.
Yeah.
But I can enjoy this moral high
Paid
ground
off.
here, and it actually turns out it worked, and I was just like, yes. No
It was good, and a few
repercussions.
people have said that we handled the string breakage situation quite well.
Yeah, you didn't let
Because-
me have a go on the drum kit though. I'll resent that.
Because back in the day, when a string broke, we used to just go, "Oh fuck,"
Yeah,
and then just sit there in dead silence, changing it or trying
Mm.
to sort out another guitar or something.
yeah,
And you just learn that the moment you stop chatting in that situation, it gets fucking awkward and boring.
yeah,
So what goes through my head at that point is like, just keep talking,
Yeah.
keep the fucking chit chat going. I can't remember for the life of me what I said now.
I
It
think
was a good opportunity to start slagging Jack.
I think we had like a good old back and forth, probably slagging Jack off. Sorry, Jack, but at the same time, change your fucking strings.
It was good.
It was good.
And then we done a little bit of David Attenborough narrating the two baboons. And then you tried to play the drum kit, and I said no.
And then I was like, why not?
By which point the string was changed, which was actually quite swift.
Yeah, and then we went straight into Introverted Cross.
So it was
pretty
good. I feel like I had a moment of panic because I truly believed we didn't have any spare strings.
Yeah,
And then I realised we did, and I was like, okay, that's good. And then the silence was, I mean, it was always going to be a little bit awkward, but, you know, I think we handled it okay.
I think we did all right. I think we did
As far as
okay.
string breakages go.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone knows that shit happens. And
Yeah.
then we played
Introverted
Cross, which is another one from the new album.
And that's one of those ones that we've done.
We played that a lot too.
That was one of the ones where we played it so much that we then stopped playing it, and that and Arrival Alive Leave Dead. It was just kind of like they're so like not concernable songs because I know them to the point where it got to the point where I didn't learn or I didn't play them or listen to them to the point where it was like, oh god, I can't remember how to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel natural to me anymore. But like playing it live and after like the kind of the hilarity of what had just come before, it just felt like being back.
Well, I was buzzed to play a song.
Yeah.
Because it'd been like 5 whole minutes without one.
Yeah.
So it was good. And that song almost feels old to us now.
Yeah,
We've been
totally.
playing that for a while. and we kind of link it in with Arrive Alive, Leave Dead, which is another new one that's going to be on the next album.
Yeah, and that was
So we segue them quite well.
And that was good fun. I felt like we did pretty well with that one. That was all right.
For me, like with Introverted, there's not so much that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Like it's quite a simple little ditty, and like it's nice and in my vocal range. Like I find it easy to do.
Yeah.
And it's one of the first ones that have really put the kind of screamy or aggressive vocals on the whole thing.
Yeah.
And like I think because of that, it was like totally a comfort zone style.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the other ones on the album, I realised I could do that with my voice and kind of pushed it. Like, you know, like almost tested myself or something.
Yeah.
But when I was doing that, that was kind of like, okay, I'd done a few kind of like high, raspy, screamy stuff on Ravenous.
Yeah.
But not really all of Ravenous.
Yeah.
I should try and do that into the album now.
Yeah.
And that was the first one that we done vocals for. So that was like making sure that style was in my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like an easy, bouncy little song. So that's for me one of the most fun ones in our set.
Yeah, it's
because I don't feel worried about playing it.
Yeah, both those songs when we linked them together, it's just that's when the party happens.
Yeah, totally. That's when my mind switches from like, okay, we've played these two tight ones that now let's play the two fun ones.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Yeah.
And Arrive Alive, Leave Dead feels old now. We've played that at every show with you.
We played that,
so that's
even the first ever one.
Almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
So
we've got it down.
Really feels old now to us.
And then after that, we played a brand new one which we hadn't played live before.
Yes, Sick to the Back Teeth debuted live for the first time.
Yeah, track 3 on the new album.
Track 3 on the album, Sick to the Back Teeth.
Yeah.
How did you feel that went?
Pretty damn well.
I feel good about it.
It was one of those ones where it's like I thought that would be the one where I'd have to concentrate a lot, but I was like running around and having a good time.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like it's kind of tough. I feel like it's kind of tough to play, but it's really short.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like before you can think about the section, that section's gone.
Yeah.
So like, and totally. It's all happening so fast.
And like, the only thing that's like really tough for me is when I kind of chant sick over and over again. But even then, man, like that honey water came back into play big time.
Trick.
Didn't really feel like I was pushing too hard.
Yeah. After
the only thing I was like, I didn't even feel that out of breath after I'd done it. Overall, like, not too bad. There's definitely a couple of sections where I fucked up big time, but not because I didn't know them, but because I was having too much fun.
Totally. Well, that's it.
But, you know,
you can't play things perfect.
And nobody's heard it, so it doesn't matter. So.
And you always sacrifice a little bit of the tightness for the bits where you want to have fun.
Yeah.
That's like just the way live music kind of works. At least for us. That's something that we're okay with.
Yeah.
It was good. I remember I didn't have any water because when the string broke, I was concentrating on like making sure I was chatting, and I didn't drink any water between the first two songs, and then Introverted and Arrive Alive.
Yeah.
So by the end of Arrive Alive, I was like, whoa, my mouth is drying up here.
Yeah.
So then I was glugging hard between those two.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, I feel good and moist in the throat again. Because there's a lot of like quite fast, weird vocally stuff going on in Sick.
Moist in the throat.
Yes, exactly. But I think it went good. I feel like
a contracted throat moistness.
It's not that tough for me because I simplify the riff on bass.
Yeah.
Imagine it's kind of tough for you guys, but not too bad.
The only one that's a little bit tough is the middle riff.
Yeah, when it gets a bit picky and stuff.
Yeah, even then it's not too bad.
Who plays the riff? See, when it first kicks in and it gets played on its own.
It's me.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Because it sounded shit hot. Because I remember thinking, oh yes, whoever played that nailed it. This is a cool song.
I think I love that riff so much. It's probably one of my favorite riffs on the album.
I don't really have any recollection of writing that riff. To be honest, it just appeared. That whole song just appeared, to be quite honest.
More of that on that episode when we actually talk about all the writings.
Yes.
And then the end of the set. Well, we segued the ending of Sick into
Scar My Eyes.
Into good old Scar My Eyes.
I love playing Scar My Eyes.
Scar My Eyes is one of those ones where I don't know if it's one of those ones where it's like I'm not at that point. I'm nearly at that point where I was like, oh, I'm fucking doing Scar My Eyes again. But at the same time, it's like, it's weird because it's like the first Disposable song I learned. So it's like, and I still probably don't play it that right.
Yeah.
But I don't really give a fuck anymore about actually learning it that correct. And
It's
nobody's
kind of
pulled
always
me up.
it's always at the end of the set when the party started. So
yeah, it's kind of fun.
at which point, like the ultra tightness has been sacrificed a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of those. I remember like having to actually concentrate on it, and now it's like one of those ones where I still kind of have to like concentrate a little bit. I think it's one of those ones where it's like I'm not able to fully let go because the riff's a little bit pernickety.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not concentrating, I'll play it like a fret up, and it'll just sound like an atonal mess, and I'll be like, and you can't really get away with that.
Yeah.
Which is really annoying. Whereas like the other ones, you're just it's like Introverted Cross is basically just a punk song, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm nearly at that point where I can completely just tune the fuck out. Not quite yet though.
Scar My Eyes is kind of the one where people who are there to see us know and want to hear. Like that and Into the Water are the two that people kind of ask for.
Yeah.
And we used Into the Water as that song for so long.
Yeah.
That even the people that kind of wanted to hear that as the main track of the set.
Yeah.
Even started to not particularly mind.
Yeah.
And Scar My Eyes is totally taken over as that song. Not that hundreds of people are expected to hear Scar My Eyes.
Yeah.
But you know, like the Disp troops.
Yeah.
Want to hear Scar My Eyes, so that gives me a little bit of a buzz when we play it.
Yeah, it's
and
nice.
Plus, I just like it.
It's nice. It's also nice knowing that Scar My Eyes is becoming the new Into the Water, because Into the Water was the one that like I never practiced because I never needed to because it's that easy. So somebody was like, we're playing Into the Water, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that song.
I mean, that gig just there yesterday must have been the first gig for a long time where we've not played Into the Water.
Did we not play? Oh fuck. Oh, I can't. We've. Really?
Yeah.
I thought, because I don't remember playing Into the Water before Coco Fest for a while.
Really?
And Coco Fest was like...
No, we played it at most, surely, last year. Maybe not all, but most.
Probably at the beginning, and then we just kind of realised that we could phase it out.
Maybe it's the first time that I really didn't miss it being there.
I don't know, man. Into the Water is a kind of funny one for me, where it's like, it's a bit of a pain to play, because it's easy, but it's like...
But it didn't cross my mind until after the gig that we didn't play it. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because Chucky was like to me on the way home, that didn't play Into the Water tonight. And I was kind of like, oh shit, we didn't. And I'm just glad it's now got to a point in my brain where it's like, it's not always there when it comes to talking about a set list.
Yeah.
It used to be like, okay, what's the set list going to be? We've got 6 songs, Into the Water, what are the other 5? Or we've got 8 songs, Into the Water, what are the other 7?
Yeah.
It used to be how the set list would go. And it almost didn't even come up in the discussions for the set list at all. So it's nice to know that we're maybe all moving on from like praising that song as the one that needs to be there.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I feel like I should stop and have a piss.
Yeah. And
get another tinny before we then talk about Lost Society, because it deserves some time.
Absolutely. Do you want me to chat, or are you going to pause it?
I'm going to pause it.
We'll be right back after this piss break. And we're back. That was a fucking rubbish chord.
Yeah, it was crap. You got me really excited for that.
I know, I told Oliver that I was going to welcome us back with an amazing chord that would blow his mind. And I played that shit.
Silence in the room. There we are.
The tinny's open. Silence in the room. The bottle's off my water. Right, so let's talk about the Lost Society lads. What do you think? What's you? Because I know you don't know much Lost Society stuff.
Yeah, I listened to like a couple of tracks off their latest album, and I was like, initial reaction, wow, this is sick. And then after a while, I was like, oh, fucking, I can't be arsed with this. And then went off and listened to like fucking Unknown Mortal Orchestra or something like that.
You're the worst.
I know, I'm awful. But seeing them live, immediately was just like a big fucking slap in the face.
Yeah. For me, they're very much a live band. Yeah. Like I've spun their albums quite a bit. Like I spun their first album a lot, and then as each other one came out, I spun it less, and it's odd because they technically got better, much better actually. Yeah. But they'd established themselves in my head at that point as very much a live band. Yeah. And also I just liked the kind of novelty thrash thing that they had going on their first one. And they matured a lot and started writing better songs. to a much higher standard.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're great.
I need to spin more of their stuff, because after seeing them live, it was just like, that's so good. Like, there would be times. Well, first of all, like their tunes are great. They're an incredibly great live band. The fact, like, okay, I'll start off with the one thing that kind of blew me away was the fact that, like, the lead singer will be playing on a fucking stonking riff.
Yeah.
And he'll be just screaming, like, get the fuck up, like, I can't hear you, Glasgow, like, getting the crowd psyched up while he's maybe playing, like, the standalone riff.
Yeah, this crazy thing.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you do that?
Well, yeah, just his ability to talk. And, like, there's one thing to sing and play at the same time, right? Because it's all connected musically.
Yeah.
But to kind of talk at random over playing is a whole different kettle of fish, and it's arguably much harder.
Yeah, it's so hard. I don't know how he does it.
It was almost just like he was in autopilot. His hands were just in total autopilot. That's almost like what he is as a frontman. Yeah. He's like, his guitar work is on autopilot so much that he can put so much of his concentration and energy into just being this really verbal frontman.
It's mental.
Because he's an unbelievable, let's face it, he's an unbelievable frontman.
He's a fantastic frontman.
He's running the show from the first second, and his energy is just ridiculous until the end.
Yeah.
There's not many better frontmen.
They kind of make you feel like you're in a fucking stadium or like a festival. Yeah. But you're in a gadgy little venue.
He's pretty fucking relentless with his frontmanness.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And for his age, like, he's a young dude. Like, he's fucking wired in on being that guy, and he's really, really good at it.
Yeah, he's really done the work, and you can tell. Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen Lost Society live before, but I've watched a lot of the live videos.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of the live videos that I watch are, like, their early days stuff.
Yeah.
Like, stuff from the first album, because that's the album that I dig the most.
Yeah.
So, like, they're super young at this point. They're like 19, maybe 20-ish.
It's mental.
At this kind of time. And they're not playing big shows or anything, but they played a lot of shows at that time. Yeah. And, like, they were just nuts on stage, just going ridiculously mental and just crazy, but they never came across as being super uber tight. Yeah. Like, they were perfectly good enough, but they didn't come across as, like, this professional mechanical tightness. It had this really young, raw energy. So I was kind of taken aback by just how tight they actually were. Yeah. Like, they've obviously, when they started getting the recognition that they got, they've really filtered that into just making sure they're really great professional musicians. Yeah. So they were just super, super tight, and some of the guitar work was just
like the first thing I screamed at my pal was, "Oh my god, did you see that? That guy's right hand technique is fucking incredible." Yeah. Like, just like proper, like, in the middle of the mosh pit, just pointing, probably getting in someone's way just to scream it, like, "Did you fucking see that? That was intense!" Like, yeah, like, there's like how relaxed both their right hands are when they're, like, picking, and how completely tight and clear every single note is, and how fast it is, and it was just it bothers me so much.
Is this both of them you're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, they're just so great.
Yeah, they're both really, really good guitarists.
And then they would be like, throughout in each song they would have one bit guitar wise that would just be like, well, the fuck's sake, that was incredible. Yeah. But then there was, like, near the end of the set where they both did, like, a ridiculous harmony run. That was the tightest thing I've ever heard.
I think it's in "I Am the Antidote," which is, if you don't know the song, but I think that's the bit you're talking about, where it turns into, like, this kind of diminished, sweepy kind of thing. Yeah. But they're harmonizing with each other.
I think that
there's great dual solos in that.
I'd put my hands in my head, much like I'm doing now. You can't see this, but I'm doing it. And I just went, what was that? It was so good.
They totally share the solos. Yeah. You know, they're both equally as fantastic at shredding. Mm-hmm. It's that bit in the set where Sammy, the front man, like, the other guitar player, his name's R2. Yeah. He's like, he'd done a little segue between two songs where he basically just done a guitar solo and shredded like fuck. Yeah. And then Sammy came out and was like, "Oh, I hate having to watch him shred every night. because it makes me feel shit at guitar.
Mm.
And then like 2 seconds into the next song, he's shredding himself like a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
And you're going, oh, shut up. You're both great.
There was like a few things about Lost Society that kind of was like, I'm not into that anymore. Where the almost kind of like ridiculous like stadium rock vibe about it, that was just like, okay, calm down. After a while, I was just sort of like, ugh. And then like when they were then just like segue songs just with ripping solos, I was just sort of like, because I love guitar solos in songs, they're fucking incredible.
Yeah.
But as soon as you start doing that and just like showing off, I immediately switch off. I was
I
immediately.
mean, I like it in the sense where it blows my mind.
Yeah, I was like, as soon as like Sammy started doing like a kind of like fucking like shred solo, and pretty much all the members of the stage just like went back to to the side of the stage, I was just like, oh god, are we really doing this? It's like, oh, are we really doing this?
I'm not fussed.
I'm just really
about
not.
that.
I'm just really not into that anymore. I just can't be arsed with that. I think for me. It was like it was since I was 15, just being solely into that, wanting so hard to be the type.
Well, you indulged in that a lot
to the point where I'm now just so fucking sick of it.
Yeah.
I just like it was like watching Zakk Wylde at Download 2012, like when he did like a solo and like fucking hell, that's 20 minutes of my life I'm just not going to get back of him doing just pentatonic just fucking nonsense. And I was so bored. I was on like, for fuck's sake, I don't care.
It kind of came across as like, this is quite obviously just how they segue between songs. And I'm like, okay, that's clever because it means they don't have to chat between all the songs.
Yeah.
It works as a tool.
Yeah,
and also they are ripping shredders, so
and
it's great.
Like it's fine because like they are so incredibly great.
They weren't doing it for so long. Like they didn't feel like they were doing guitar solos.
Yeah,
it still came across to me like they were just segueing between songs. So that's why I was totally okay with it.
Like
they never some bands come out and they do like the 10-minute.
I think at this point,
it wasn't like that.
I think at this point they'd been so fucking incredible that I was looking for any opportunity to nitpick.
Yeah, that's it.
And I just sort of like, oh, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that, lads. And then they would go to the next song, and I'd be like, for fuck's sake, that's incredible.
It all comes down to their energy.
Yeah,
their energy on stage is just so infectious, and they get the crowd just going. And it was great, and it all just kicked off, and it was party thrash at its finest.
Oh, totally.
But like at the same time, a lot of their new material isn't really like party thrash. A lot of it's more like melodic, groovy, kind of stuff. And they played, I don't know if it was like 2 or 3 songs that is going to be on their next album. Yeah, that no one there really knew, and they really didn't sound thrash at all.
There was one that sounded like Lamb of God or something.
Super groovy, like good, like singy kind of vocals on it. So they're obviously, they say in interviews and stuff they don't want to just stagnate as a thrash band. And I was speaking to the drummer with Liam after the gig, and he was saying like, I'm not really that into thrash that much anymore. Yeah,
I was speaking to him as well.
Yeah. So it was kind of like they're obviously moving on from that and maturing as musicians and stuff. Yeah. Because like I don't want to use the word immature, but like if you read some of the lyrics on the first album and stuff, it's like they've got a track called "Emos Are Gay." You know what I mean? So that's like the kind of like novelty thrash context that we're talking about here. But then when they play the new stuff, it's kind of like this really mature sounding, like groovy, heavy as fuck stuff. Like they obviously became fantastic musicians somewhere along the journey. And
they're unreal, man. The drummer is incredible.
They play far beyond their years. They're just they're all just cut out to be doing what they're doing. Yeah, they've really like honed their skills so well. They're great. It's like imagine how much better they're gonna fucking get as well. I'm kind of annoyed at the sense because we played just before them and was kind of knackered. Yeah, and like I do like to just have a period of chilling out. That pit was also really heavy, especially like after I've done vocals. I don't want to then just scream for another hour when they're playing. So I'm quite conscious of like I should be quiet for the next couple of hours. Really, like I try and even not to speak to many people at all. But then at the same time, I really wanted to just be down the pit shouting the words that I knew. Yeah, and having a great time. And it lasted about half their set, and I was like, I'm knackered. Like I'm gonna have to. I'm getting too old for this. I need to step aside here. Yeah, like I said, that pit was. And the pit was gnarly. Pit was fucking gnarly, and like to the point where I was like, borderline not having a good time, but persevering. And then I like headbutted a guy by accident, and then
you know, had that kind of jolt of like, you know, whoa, I'm not sure about
Yeah.
this. When I sat out for a bit, went back in, and then was like, you know what, I'm sacking this.
Thing is, like at gigs where we're not playing, obviously you're going to see a bigger band or whatever, and you know that you're going to pit,
Yeah.
and then you can just slump yourself on a train or a bus home,
Yeah.
and don't have to worry about anything. It's fine. But when you're then pitting to a band that comes on immediately after you, and you know you're gonna have to lug all your fucking gear up the stairs.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I still want to have a bit of energy at the end of the night to
Yeah.
organise my shit. You know what I mean? I can't just fall asleep on the bus on the way home.
Yeah, I know.
So I was like, just lacking in a bit of energy myself at about the halfway point of their set. At which point they're still just blistering like fuck, and you're going, oh my god, he's actually doing such a great job of convincing me here.
Yeah.
You know. But they were really good. I was
close.
dead impressed, and it was just appreciated the fact that they came to Scotland.
They seemed really happy to be here.
Yeah.
Genuinely, really, really psyched
I
to
mean,
be
they're not
here.
big famous dudes. They're just young dudes that are having a fucking great time and are genuinely really, really thankful for the fact that people are coming out to their shows, and they're gnarly and they totally deserve it. So that, you know, we're chatting to them afterwards, and they're just dudes. They're just dudes that are doing what they love, and they're just, you know, every time you'd thank them for coming and playing a great show, they would thank you back for coming and playing a great show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're just dudes. You know, they're,
Sick dudes. Sick dudes.
yeah, so it was cool. It was nice to meet them and just chat to them and stuff. They were really nice. I'm wearing my Lost Society t-shirt right now,
You certainly are.
which I bought from the gig, and it's got the tour dates on the back, so that's like a nice memento for us as well, because obviously we were played on that tour and stuff. So that's cool. So overall, it was a great show.
Overall, good day with the bros.
It was
sick gig.
emotional ups and downs. There was
Oh, yeah.
spoons. There was mayonnaise. You know, there was good music. There was a lot of screaming and shouting.
Yeah, lots of screaming and shouting.
It was good. That was
Okay,
that was a very in-depth rundown.
And somewhere in there a KFC. Not bad.
Before we pushed record, I was like, yeah, we'll probably talk about the Lost Society gig for like 20 minutes to half an hour. And we're probably over 2 hours now of all the gritty details of the day.
I had to have a toilet break.
Yeah, that doesn't usually happen.
That does not usually happen. Well,
and then we went home and we went a ridiculous way home because
So,
of
like,
roadworks and stuff. But
getting home from our gigs, it's because you live in the
because I live in
country.
S Bank, like it's nice at the start of the day because everyone's just energized and ready to go, and afterwards, when ideally everyone would just go straight back to their house, you kind of have to drop people at loads of different points in time.
Well, like a lot, like what we did the last couple of times was your dad would then drop me and Jack off, and we would probably have to make sure that like leave the gear with you, because Choki would just be like too tired to kind of take us all individually home, and we live just too far apart from each other to really do
it's
that.
just that distance is it's enough to be a fucking nuisance,
Yeah.
but not enough to be like you're getting patched in the center of town.
Yeah, and like the one thing that we can really do for Choki is to kind of make his life a little bit easier. If he's not going to accept any cash for what he wants to for doing it, then it's just like, well, if it's easy and you want to go to bed, just drop us off here.
Yeah.
But like I think the Ravenous tour, me and Jack ended up getting dropped off in like Christorfen and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was a few. Yeah.
Because that was probably like
even I was like, that's far from their houses.
That is rare. It's like that was really far. There was like one time that I was like, Jack was like, oh, it's fine, we'll get dropped off in Christorfen, and then I was like with Jack in Christorfen, and there was no buses, and I was fucking raging at him, and he was like, I'll be fine, there'll be a bus, and I was like, there's no fucking bus.
No,
we're no fucking pals now. And
we're not pals until the morning.
And then, truly enough, a bus did come. It was like 100 airport bus, and it was like
big crazy motherfucker.
And there was like no indication that it was coming at any point.
Yeah, that's it.
So it was
totally
it was luck that it was there.
And you're like, oh, fucking tell you it was.
It's like, oh, shut up.
But yeah, there was a few like roadworks and stuff, so we had to go a weird way, and it was annoying. But at the same time, the day was done. I was just glad that everything eventually went smoothly. And
I'd basically drunk 2/3 of the rider.
Oh yeah, I mean, you just went right into the.
It was when like the mosh pit had spewed me back out, and I was like done. So then I was just like, well, let's just boogie at the back with the pals, and then at the back it was very much near our pile of gear, and the rider, and I was like, well, I wanted a beer, but I've been too busy moshing and getting things on and off stage. Like, just rake in, lads.
I just remember coming out of the pit and you just had like a bottle in every pocket and one in each hand. Just like, I just fired into the rider, by the way. And I was like, yeah, clearly.
It's like,
it was good.
Jack's not really drinking.
Yeah.
Tucker
took a few.
He took a few, and I felt bad for having most of it.
I like how you're like the heavy drinker of the band at the moment.
I know. It's so bad.
I love steaming you because you're just a silly Billy.
Yeah. I think steaming me is so much better than Jaime. It depends though, because Jaime's like, if you get me on a right day, like, don't want to be Joe fucking Rogan, but you know, like different type of strain that you got, bro. Like it depends. It's like sometimes I'll just be like, I'll be fine, and most of the time I'll just be a fucking potato and I'll just be couching and like he'll ask me a question and then 5 minutes later I'll go
yeah.
I just can't do it. So drunk me is probably preferable.
Drunk, you get energized and go a bit like yappy dog, which I like because you know
it's
you just start laughing a lot, and I like when you see people laugh. It's such a nice thing to see.
I wish that for me.
It's just like a physical act of joy. Yeah. It's always nice to be around.
Yeah. So I thought
overall, right?
Overall, great.
I think it was really good. It had its little moments of merch box trauma and string breakage, but at the same time, like that's just like
and teaspoon scream.
That's teaspoon screaming. But you know, it was great. It was just like every gig just becomes this memory that is always so vivid for you. Yeah. And every gig has these little things that you latch onto.
Yeah, and I'm really, really glad that the first gig of the year of our Lord 2019.
Holy fuck! So it is the year of the pig.
Yeah, it is the year of the pig. I'm so glad that the year of the pig's first gig has such fond memories for me.
It was good. It reminded me of how fun a time we can have and how many silly things can happen in a single day.
Silly things happen when you're around so many silly lads.
At the end of the day, like all the work that you put in comes down to these like couple of hours that you're at a venue playing a show. Yeah. And like, yeah, it was good, and it was a good one, good exciting one to be the first one of the year. So I feel like we're going to do quite a lot of shows this year. Yeah. It's certainly looking like it's going to pan out that kind of way. Yeah. You know, because we didn't have a hugely heavy gigging year last year. I mean, with the writing and stuff, we still gigged.
We still gigged a fair amount. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be good. I'm fairly buzzed. Anyway,
all right. So that was that was just the big rundown of the day. Yeah. You know, a day in the life of Disposable, playing a show. Yeah.
We should probably talk about the album at some point, but you know,
we'll do that another day.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. Anyway, you're all incredible.
Thank you all so much for listening once again. Big shout out to Jokey and Ifreann and Lost Society and the Edinburgh crew and the Glasgow crew that came out to the show. Check out Ifreann's new shit. Spin Lost Society stuff. Yeah. It's gnarly if you haven't done already.
It is gnarly.
Spin Disposable stuff on Spotify.
We're okay.
You can pick up our stuff online.
You can get merch at a show if we remember.
Sometimes you can get merch at a show. But yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We love and appreciate you. Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.